Chapter 15-19. After staying in Hidden Sky City for a day, Chu Hen, Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang, Qiao Shaowan, Han Ichuan, and the others who had come from the victorious East Province set off on their way back to the Eastern Domain. Shifengzi was still outside the Middle Province, while the others had all gathered together. Apart from the original group, Bai Qianyu, Mo Qingli, Qingxue, Zhao Qingyi, and Zhao Qingkai were also in the group. After leaving Hidden Sky City, they arrived at the giant Crocodile Bay on the border of the Midland through the teleportation formations between the major cities. After that, they passed through various large islands and arrived at Whale Island City. We're finally at Whale Island City. After crossing this ocean, we'll be in the Eastern Domain. The weather was pleasant, and the sun was shining brightly. These young men and women standing on the beach not only had outstanding temperaments, but their appearances were also superb. On the azure golden beach, it formed a beautiful scenery. The scenery is really nice. This is the first time I've been to the beach in my entire life. Bai Qianyu's eyes shone as he enjoyed the cool breeze blowing against his face. Let's play for a while before leaving, Zhao Qingkai suggested. I agree. Qiao Shaowan echoed. I agree with both hands. Qingxue also shouted excitedly. From a certain point of view, this return could be considered a return to one's hometown in glory. Their mood was rather relaxed. Coupled with the series of events that had happened recently, it was a rare opportunity for everyone to relax. This was especially true for the few girls, who quickly became a mess in the wave. Noni, come and play. Yi Yao tied up her skirt, took off her shoes, and stepped on the soft sand. However, although everyone was having fun, Noni didn't seem to be in the mood. Is this silly cat unhappy? Mu Feng asked casually. It can't be that it's thinking of its previous owner, right? Han Ichuan said. Probably. Yin-Yang Beast Noni could be said to have grown up in Whale Island City. Its original master was the young city lord of Whale Island City, Qi Juexin. However, Qi Juexin was vicious by nature. At that time, they had made things difficult for Chu Hen and the others, and in the end, an intense battle had broken out in Whale Island City. In the end, Chu Hen killed Qi Juexin and his son in succession, and only then was he able to pass through Whale Island City and head to Midland. He revisited this place and recalled all the things that had happened in the past. Everyone felt a little emotional. At this time, Chu Hen discovered that Bai Qianyu was crouching on the other side of the beach. She held a branch in her hand and seemed to be writing something on the ground. Chu Hen was curious. Then, he walked over. A few lines of graceful and beautiful words appeared under her fingers. What is a wish? Blue sky, green willows, golden beach. Could you be more specific? There is a boat by the blue water. How could it be more specific? To accompany you. Looking at these lines, Chu Hen was startled. Then, Bai Qianyu raised her head. Her beautiful face was illuminated by the gentle sunlight, and her skin was somewhat translucent and flawless. The cool sea breeze lifted her beautiful long hair, and her bright peach blossom eyes were smiling. This scene couldn't help but touch Chu Hen's heart. Chu Hen smiled, but an indescribably complicated look flashed across his eyes. Crash! The wind blew. A wave came crashing over, and the cool seawater spread over the beach. The seawater flowed into those words and filled those horizontal strokes. Then, another wave came crashing over, and those lines of words were washed away. They were washed away, Chu Hen said. The corners of Bai Qianyu's mouth rose, and her smile was bright and beautiful, like a summer flower. It's good that you can see it. Is there anything you want to ask me? Chu Hen looked into her eyes. Why should I ask? Bai Qianyu stood up, and her eyes were as clear as water. But what if some wishes can't be fulfilled? Chu Hen said. If it can be easily fulfilled, then it's not a wish. My father once told me to cherish the present, and don't ask about tomorrow. A wish that can't be fulfilled is still a wish. The two of them stood on the beach, looking at each other. Under the blue sky, The road on the golden beach was shaded by green willows. Not far away, a few fishing boats were docked. Under the beautiful background, the two of them looked like a poem or a painting. I've had enough fun, time to go. Mu Feng looked up at the gradually moving sun and said, "So fast. I haven't had enough fun yet." "That's enough, I'm eager to go back. I have to go back and show off in front of my coquettish old man." "Yo, you've grown up now? When you came to Midland, you were still a human, but when you go back, you've become a monster. If I were your father, I'd be furious." Qiao Shaowan said. "Piss off, how much better are you? I'm at least a half-human, half-monster, you've become a full monster. Even a full monster is better than a transvestite like you. Who the hell are you calling a transvestite? Don't stop me, I'll chop you to death today." Needless to say, Mu Feng and Qiao Shaowan had quarreled many times on the way. But the more they quarreled, the happier they were. But it was troublesome for Haozi and Han Ichuan. Every time they quarreled, they had to stop one person each. Otherwise, they might really fight. "Your friends are so interesting." Bai Qianyu smiled. Chu Hen also smiled. Then, he said, "Time to go, we still have a long way to go before we reach victorious East State. How do we cross the sea? Do we take the flowing cloud golden boat like when we came?" Yi Yao asked. "No need." Chu Hen denied. "The flowing cloud golden boat is too slow, we can just fly over," Mu Feng explained. "What if we encounter a convective storm?" Although with their current cultivation, they had enough physical strength to cross the vast sea that was millions of miles away, it was easy to get lost if they were in the midst of a convective storm for a long time. Relatively speaking, the flowing cloud golden boat was slow, but there was no need to worry about any unexpected situations. What's there to be afraid of? Don't we have boss? Mu Feng glanced at Chu Hen. Chu Hen smiled. Then, he said, "Everyone, stand firm. We'll leave now." After he finished speaking, a faint purple halo of light was released from Chu Hen's body. Then, it enveloped the surrounding people. "Domain?" Zhao Qingkai said in surprise. Different from last time, the people in Chu Hen's domain did not feel the slightest bit of pressure. "Let's go!" Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, a purple curtain of light shot up into the sky. It brought everyone with it into the sky and flew towards the vast and boundless ocean. "Holy shit, what happened to those people on the beach?" "It seems to be heading east," Wang Yao said. This sudden scene gave the people on the beach a fright. "Don't tell me they're trying to fly across the sea? What nonsense are you spouting? Who has that kind of ability? Anyway, don't you think those people look a little familiar? Do you think so too? I feel like I've seen them somewhere before." Wait a minute, 4 years ago, when our Whale Island city held the pattern scribe competition, right? Clang! Rumble! The sky above the sea was ever-changing. 1 second it might be clear and boundless, but in the next, it would be filled with gales and storms. At this moment, in the midst of the turbulent storm that could turn the heavens and the earth upside down, a huge boat that spanned several hundred meters was like an ancient giant beast shuttling through the terrifying storm. The dark sky and the black waves below seemed to merge into one. Even so, the interior of the flowing cloud golden boat was very stable. As the only means of transportation between the eastern region and Whale Island City, the flowing cloud golden boat was exceptionally expensive. Most of those who could afford to sit here were from wealthy and prestigious families. In front of the cabin of the flowing cloud golden boat. In front of the cabin of the flowing cloud golden boat. I heard that the war god palace of the Midland has been overthrown, and the entire inner province is in chaos. I've heard about it too. The war god palace, an overlord of the Midland, has been overthrown, and the entire inner prefecture is now in chaos. That's really scary. Even a colossus like the war god palace has collapsed. It's said that the person who overthrew the war god palace came from our eastern region. Is that true? It seems to be true. It seems to be that, Chu Hen. After all, it would take a lot of time for the flowing cloud golden boat to reach the eastern region. Those who had nothing better to do would gather here to talk about what had happened on the two sides of the sea. The flowing cloud golden boat this time is a little fierce. It's been going on for 7 or 8 days. Yeah. At this rate, we might not even reach the Mu province in the eastern region in a month. In the VIP cabin at the front, everyone could see the situation outside through a glass panel made of a special material. The storm was dark and the lightning was interweaving. It was especially terrifying. What's that? A panicked cry suddenly rang out in the cabin. What? Someone's out there? What kind of joke is this? Who can withstand a flowing cloud golden boat? There's really someone. What? The startled crowd stood up and gathered by the window. Amidst the torrential storm, a purple light screen resembling a round bubble could be seen. More than 10 people could be seen within it. No matter how fierce the storm was or how devastating the lightning was, the light screen remained impregnable. However, the light barrier was impregnable and did not shake at all. This is? Swish, before anyone could observe it, the light screen swept past the side of the flowing cloud golden boat and disappeared into the storm in a few blinks of an eye. Many dumbfounded faces were left in the flowing cloud golden boat. Chapter 15:20. Relying on Chu Hen's powerful domain power, he directly brought everyone through the storm, crossing the vast ocean that connected the eastern region and Whale Island City at a speed 10 times faster than the flowing cloud giant ship. Several days later, Chu Hen and the rest arrived at the eastern region's Mu province. Then, they went to the victorious East province through the teleportation formation established between the various provinces. After a few trips, finally, after leaving the mid-continent for half a month, Chu Hen and the rest stepped into the victorious East province. Do you feel it? After coming down from the teleportation formation, Mu Feng spread his arms, a look of enjoyment on his face. What is it? Xiao Xiaowan asked. The aura of home. Lunatic, this is the victorious East province. Your home is still in the 100 Nations province. It's about time. Victorious East province isn't far from the 100 Nations province. In the sky above Mount Kunliu. Relatives of Mount Kunliu, come out and welcome our distinguished guests. Your brothers and sisters have returned home in glory. Mu Feng shouted at the top of his lungs, his voice spreading for dozens of miles. Everyone's eyes twitched. They cursed inwardly. Standing together with this fellow was simply embarrassing. Logically speaking, anyone who wasn't deaf would be able to hear Mu Feng's shout. But what was puzzling was that there was no movement on the main peak of Mount Kunliu for a long time. What's going on? The few of them were puzzled. Where are the people of Mount Kunliu? Could we have come to the wrong place? No way. Chu Hen shook his head. Although he hadn't been back for more than 4 years, he still remembered the environment of Mount Kunliu very clearly. This was indeed the sect base of Mount Kunliu. Could something have happened? Han Yichuan said uncertainly. Everyone's heart skipped a beat when they heard this. Chu Hen also frowned slightly. Let's go down and take a look. After saying that, everyone flew down to the main peak below in a flash. Just as everyone landed on the ground, more than a dozen figures with piercingly cold auras swept over from the backyard of the square on the main peak. Who dares to trespass Mount Kunliu? Hey, trespassing? Are you kidding me? Do you know who we are? Mu Feng rolled up his sleeves and scolded. I don't care who you are. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and leave. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Come. I want to see how impolite you are. Just as he finished speaking, a calm voice came from behind. Sun Guang, don't be rude. The young man in the lead immediately turned around. Senior brother Dai Ning, the crowd parted. A handsome man walked over from behind. I didn't know you were coming to my Kuan. Before the man finished speaking, his eyes suddenly lit up, and he exclaimed in disbelief, Chu, senior brother Chu Hen. Your senior brother Chu Hen? What? Senior brother Chu Hen? The expressions of the man called Sun Guang and the others around him also changed drastically. Their eyes were filled with deep disbelief. Finally someone with eyes came, said Mu Feng as he rolled his eyes. You're really senior brother Chu Hen? Dai Ning was so shocked that he didn't know what to do. Chu Hen nodded slightly. I'm Chu Hen. And you are? The other party knew him. However, Chu Hen didn't have any impression of the person in front of him. Reporting to senior brother Chu Hen, my name is Dai Ning, and I'm in charge of guarding this place. Senior brother Chu Hen probably doesn't know me. When you left victorious East State, I had just entered Mount Kunliu not long ago. As for you, I could only watch from afar. Dai Ning said humbly. At the same time, the others also looked at Chu Hen with incomparable respect. To the entire Mount Kunliu and even victorious East State, Chu Hen was definitely a legend. Where are the others? Why are there only so few of you left? Chu Hen asked doubtfully. Senior brother Chu Hen probably doesn't know that the main base of Mount Kunliu has already been moved to Kuan City. Kuan City? That's right, it used to be Thunder City. Thunder City? Qiao Shaowan, Han Ichuan, and the others looked at each other. Qiao Shaowan blurted out, wasn't that previously under the jurisdiction of the Thunder Saint Palace? Dai Ning's eyes lit up when he saw the two familiar figures standing behind Chu Hen. Are you senior sister Qiao Shaowan of the Thousand World Sect and senior brother Han Ichuan of the Palace of Jihua? Yes, it's us. Han Ichuan replied. Continue, Qiao Shaowan said. Dai Ning nodded and said, indeed, it used to be under the jurisdiction of the Thunder Saint Palace. However, ever since senior brother Chu Hen destroyed the Thunder Saint Palace, most of the areas under its jurisdiction have been taken over by our Mount Kunliu. Some of them are managed by the Thousand World Sect and the Palace of Jihua. About 2 years ago, the base of Mount Kunliu was moved to Kuan City. The 3 halls of our sect have also been set up in the bases around Kuan City. What about sect leader Gong Yang and the Flying Celestial Hall Master? They're all in Kuan City. Also, senior brother Shanzhen, senior sister Lung Lingyan, and senior sister Qin, Qi Shu, and Hua are all in the main base of Kuan City. It was obvious that Dai Ning knew a little about Chu Hen. She also knew who he was close to in Mount Kunliu in the past. Hearing these names, Chu Hen couldn't help but recall familiar faces in his mind. Shanzhen was the eldest disciple of the Flying Celestial Hall. Lung Lingyan was the eldest disciple of the Void Hall. As for Qin, Qi, Shu, and Shu, they were the ones who pestered him all the way and finally brought him back to Mount Kunliu to take over the position of sect leader. Among the 4 girls, Hua Shui was the most likable. Then is this place useless? Chu Hen asked. Dai Ning shook her head, not really. This is a transit station that connects Kuan City and the 100 Kingdoms state. People from the League of Generals have to pass through here to get to Kuan City. The League of Generals! Chu Hen's eyes lit up. The teleportation formation between the 100 Kingdoms state and here is connected? Yes, it was connected 3 years ago. The League of Generals. It was the result of Chu Hen's overthrowing of the Sacred Star Dynasty and the merger of the School Alliance, the Runemaster Guild, and a few other forces. It replaced the royal family of the Sacred Star Dynasty and managed the original land of the dynasty. The top management of the League of Generals were Principal Jiang of the Tensei Prefecture, President Xiao of the Runemaster Guild, and Chu Hen's sister-in-law, Su Yorong. Later on, after Chu Hen destroyed the Thunder Saint Palace, he had the idea of merging the League of Generals and Mount Kunliu. The School Alliance would nurture talented disciples and send them to Mount Kunliu to cultivate. Not only would it strengthen the League of Generals, it would also provide fresh blood to Mount Kunliu. I haven't been back for more than 4 years. Mount Kunliu has changed a lot, Chu Hen said with a little surprise. Yes. If it wasn't for Senior Chu Hen, Mount Kunliu would still be here. Kuan City is now bustling with noise and comfort. You will be amazed when you see it, Dai Ning said with excitement. She paused and said, Senior Chu Hen wants to go to Kuan City, right? I will activate the teleportation formation for you. Okay, thank you. Senior Chu Hen, you're overpraising me. To be able to receive you here is our honor. Even though they called Chu Hen Senior, the respect they had for Chu Hen was not much less than the respect they had for Gong Yongyu. Even today, Chu Hen's deeds were still being spread all over the victorious East State. Back then, he single-handedly challenged the entire Thunder Saint Palace. That was definitely recorded in history. It seems like you often cause trouble in the eastern region? Bai Qianyu said in a small voice. Chu Hen smiled awkwardly. Yes, I often cause trouble. I couldn't tell. The corner of Bai Qianyu's mouth twitched as she said mischievously. Soon after, under Dai Ning's lead, the group arrived at a majestic Dao platform. On the east and west sides of the Dao platform were two tall platforms. The teleportation formation on the left leads to Kuan City. The one on the right leads to the 100 Kingdoms state. What about the 1,000 World sect? There's no teleportation formation? Qiao Shaowan asked. There are teleportation formations directly to the 1,000 World sect and Zhuhua Palace in Kuan City. Senior Qiao and Senior Han can transfer there, Dai Ning explained. After all, the main base of Mount Kuan Lu had been moved elsewhere. There was no need for this place to connect to the 1,000 World sect and Zhuhua Palace. Alright. With that, Qiao Shaowan took the lead and stepped onto the teleportation formation on the left. Han Yichuan also followed. Mu Feng and Yi Yao went to the teleportation formation on the right towards the 100 Kingdoms state. Aren't you going somewhere? Dai Ning asked curiously. What place? I'm returning home in glory, do you understand? I want to return to the Heavenly Sword Pavilion. I want to return to Lin Xing City as well, Yi Yao said. Seeing this situation, Zhao Qingyi and Zhao Qingkai took Qingxue to an unknown teleportation formation. The three looked at Chu Hen. You guys go to Kuan City first, Chu Hen said to Zhao Qingyi and the others. I need to return to the General League. I'll meet you guys at Kuan City later. You three can follow me to the 1,000 World sect first, Qiao Shaowan said with a smile. Alright. Zhao Qingyi and her sister led Qingxue onto the teleportation array towards Kuan City. I'll go to Kuan City too, Mo Qingli said. Everyone couldn't help but be surprised by this. Logically, shouldn't Mo Qingli be with Chu Hen? You're going to Kuan City? Chu Hen was also a little surprised. Yes. Mo Qingli looked meaningfully at Chu Hen and Bai Qianyu. Kuan City should be more lively than the 100 Kingdoms state. I'll look after Qingxue for you guys. Chu Hen smiled, nodded his head, and did not say anything else. Immediately, Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, Long Xuanshuang, Yi Yao and Mu Feng stepped onto the teleportation formation. The others went to Kuan City first. Although these few chapters didn't have any ups and downs, they weren't easy to write. Even I don't remember the characters in the previous chapters clearly. I had to flip through the previous chapters as I wrote. I was afraid that I would miss out on any important characters or fill in any holes. Thanks to Brother Li Wushang's reward, I should have added more chapters today. However, I still need to sort out the later chapters. I'll add more chapters in 2 days. Chapter 1521. Within the 100 Kingdoms province, the imperial city of the Sacred Star Dynasty had been renamed General City, and it was also the base of the General League. Along with the slight tremble of space, a stable and flat platform glowed with colorful and brilliant talismans. Light flashed. A faint wave of air spread out along the platform. Then, the flowing light disappeared, and a few young figures with extraordinary appearances appeared on the platform. You're back? Where is this? Have we arrived at the 100 Kingdoms province? Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, Long Xuanshuang, Mu Feng, Haozi, Yi Yao, and the Yin Yang Beast Noni looked around curiously. They were in a rather spacious and grand plaza. There were several other teleportation platforms around them. There was a tall city wall around the plaza, and it looked like the backyard of a main city. At this moment, a series of hurried footsteps approached them. He saw a few armored guards hurrying towards them. "Sir, did you come from Mount Kunlun? I wonder if I can be of service." This teleportation formation was connected to Mount Kunlun. Coupled with the extraordinary aura of Chu Hen and the others, the people who came to greet them were rather respectful. "You don't know me?" Chu Hen asked. The guards looked at each other, their eyes filled with doubt. "I'm sorry, sir. I've only entered the General League for less than 2 years. I don't even have the qualifications to come into contact with many sirs from the victorious East Province," the leader of the guards said respectfully. "I see." Chu Hen nodded slightly, then asked, "Where are Principal Jiang and faction leader Su?" The guard was stunned. His gaze towards Chu Hen was even more bewildered. "Sir, are you talking about our former Dean Jiang and sect master Su Yorong? Why, they're not here?" Principal Jiang and faction leader Su went to the victorious East Province's Kuan City 3 years ago. "Sir, don't you know?" This time, it was Chu Hen's turn to be stunned. He then asked, "What about President Qiao of the Engraver Guild?" "President Qiao is also in Kuan City." "Then who is in charge of the General Alliance now?" "Song Chunglai, Dean Song, City Hunter Mentor?" Chu Hen's eyes lit up. Chu Hen was no stranger to the Song City Hunt. When he first entered the imperial capital, and was rejected by the 27 high-ranked martial houses, it was Song Qing who led him into the Tensei prefecture. At that time, Song Chunglai was brave and valiant. He was given the title of Demon Lion. "Where is he now?" Chu Hen asked. "Dean Song should be presiding over a meeting at the Engraver Guild right now. If Sir has urgent matters to discuss with him, we'll go invite him right away." "No need, let him busy himself first. I'll come back later." Chu Hen smiled. "Hey, is there a teleportation array that connects to the Heavenly Sword Pavilion?" Mu Feng asked. "Yes, the Heavenly Sword Pavilion and our General Alliance are allies. There is a teleportation array that connects directly." "Hee, perfect. Quick, let me use it." Mu Feng was really eager to return home. He could not wait to teleport back to the Heavenly Sword Pavilion. "Do the few of you want to return home with this marshal?" Mu Feng asked with a smile. "It's fine as long as you're beautiful by yourself," Yi Yao replied. "What about Haozi? It'll be awkward for you to follow them alone." Haozi rolled his eyes. "I have family and friends in the 100 Kingdoms prefecture. Alright then. I'll go to Kuan City to find you guys later." With that, Mu Feng jumped onto the teleportation array to the Heavenly Sword Pavilion under the guidance of one of the guards. "Where do the other 2 teleportation arrays lead to?" Chu Hen asked casually. "My lord, one of them leads to the Thousand Cranes sect, and the other leads to Sky City," the guard replied respectfully. He paused for a moment, then continued, "The Thousand Cranes sect is still led by Sect Master Qizhong, but he spends most of his time in Kuan City in the Eastern Victory State. Grand Cloud City doesn't have much contact with our General Alliance, but Sect Master Su repeatedly warned us before we left Kuan City that the teleportation array between the General Alliance and Grand Cloud City is the most important and must be properly maintained." A trace of warmth surfaced in Chu Hen's eyes when he heard this. She muttered to herself, "Sister-in-law is so considerate." The Thousand Cranes sect was Instructor Shilan's sect. Sect Master Qizhong was also an old acquaintance of Chu Hen's. There was no need to even mention Grand Cloud City. City Lord Luo Qiong was Luo Mengchang's adoptive father. He cherished and doted on Luo Mengchang like his own daughter. In the past, the Luo clan had been jointly chased out of Grand Cloud City by the other clans in the city. In the end, it was Chu Hen who personally took back Grand Cloud City and gave it back to the Luo clan. "Are you going to Grand Cloud City?" Long Xuanxuang asked softly. Bai Qianyu revealed a curious expression as well. However, Chu Hen merely shook his head. Not for now. After that, Mu Feng headed to the Sky Sword Pavilion alone. As for Haozi, he went to his birthplace, General City. The wide streets were bustling with people and endless streams of carriages. It was a bustling place. The capital has changed a lot, Long Xuanxuang said emotionally. Chu Hen nodded. Yes. I almost couldn't recognize it. The current General City had been greatly expanded on the original foundation of the Sacred Star Dynasty's capital. The tall buildings in the city were magnificent and lined up row upon row. Every building was much more magnificent than it had been in the past. At a glance, the capital had lost all its former glory. Is this where you grew up? Bai Qianyu asked. Chu Hen shook his head. No. Big brother Chu Hen, big sister Xuanxuang, and I all grew up in the Burning Rain City. Yi Yao explained. Burning Rain City? It's a nice name. Do you want to take a look? Chu Hen asked. Sure. Bai Qianyu said with a smile. General City. Inscribers Guild. In an extremely luxurious and splendid palace hall. Spacious, bright, and luxurious palace pillars supported this magnificent building that was over 1,000 feet tall. Dean Song, the envoy from the Sword Dynasty, is waiting in the first guest hall, and the third prince of the Misty Wind Dynasty. He hopes to get a place to go to Kuan City in the victorious East State from you. The long square table was made of extremely precious black crystal agate. On both sides of the long table, a group of senior members of the General League sat around it, and directly above them was a middle-aged man who exuded a heroic aura. His gaze was as deep as a lion's, and his aura was especially powerful. Tell the envoy from the Sword Dynasty that I have to go to the academy to teach martial arts in the afternoon. Tell him to go to the academy to find me tomorrow. Also, tell the third prince of the Misty Wind Dynasty that if he wants to go to Kuan City, he needs to pass the assessment of the Academy's alliance in 3 months. Yes, I understand. If there's nothing else, today's meeting will end here. I have to rush back to the Academy to teach martial arts. After saying that, Song Chunglai stood up and left. Yes, Dean Song. Dean Song is really generous. With his ability, he should be able to go to Kuan City, but he still insists on staying here to teach martial arts. You don't know, the Academy's alliance is Dean Zhang's life's work. Dean Song doesn't feel at ease leaving this position to others, so he personally manages it. Yes, Dean Song said that he likes to see the little brats in the martial house grow up one by one. It gives him a sense of accomplishment. Now, the General League had become a giant in the 100 Kingdoms state. Especially the Academy's alliance, it was the gathering place of all the young geniuses in the state. Some of the famous families in the various dynasties and empires, as well as the members of the imperial family, would fight tooth and nail to send their descendants there. Dean Song, someone is coming from the Eastern Victory State today. As soon as Song Chunglai walked out of the Inscriptionist Guild's entrance, he met a young guard who was waiting outside. Oh? What's the matter? Song Chunglai had a puzzled look on his face. The other party didn't say why he's here. What's puzzling is that he's obviously from the Eastern Victory State, but he doesn't seem to know anything about our General League in recent years. There's such a thing? What does that person look like? He's quite handsome, and his smile is very clean. Most importantly, he's obviously very young, but I can't see through him at all. The moment he arrived, he asked about Dean Jiang and sect leader Su. In an instant, Song Chunglia's expression changed abruptly. He looked at the other party in shock and asked excitedly, "Where is he?" The guard's heart was also shocked. He had never seen Song Chunglai lose his composure like this. "No, I don't know. He only said that he'll come and find you later." "When did this happen? Why are you only telling me now?" Seeing Song Chunglia's agitated emotions, the guard's expression was especially uneasy. He did not understand. Wasn't that person from Mount Kunliu? Why was he so uneasy? I don't know who he is, so I didn't report it immediately. At the same time, the other senior members of the General League walked out of the conference hall one after another. Seeing Song Qinglia's solemn expression, they went up to him and asked what had happened. Dean Song, what's going on? He's back. Song Qinglai clenched his fists, but his expression turned from shock to joy. Him? Everyone looked at each other. Which him? That little rascal from the Tensei Prefecture. Song Qinglai smiled as he shook his head. The guard at the side did not know which way was north. He had been solemn earlier, but now he was smiling again. It was really hard to make heads or tails of. Send someone to inform Kuan City immediately. Tell them that Chu Hen has returned. Chu Hen? Clang. The moment they heard this name, it was as if thunder had struck their ears. All of their faces were filled with shock. Chapter 1522. Flaming Rain City. Even though the Sacred Star Dynasty had undergone earth-shattering changes in the past few days, Baidu greater than over equal to search greater than over equal to products greater than over equal to books greater than over equal to net greater than over equal to net greater than over equal to, but the Flaming Rain City did not change much. It was still the same familiar street. It was still the same familiar alley. Even the old tree at the city gate was the same as before. This is the Flaming Rain City, the place where we grew up together. Yi Yao's eyes sparkled, looking particularly excited. Bai Qianyu also observed the surrounding environment with great interest. Don't you feel that it's very remote? Chu Hen asked. No. I feel that living in this small city is very comfortable. Your childhood should be very happy, right? Chu Hen smiled slightly, his eyes showing some emotions. Grandpa, Uncle Jean, Big Brother, and Second Sister are all very good to me. I'm not good to you. Long Xuanxuang said a little coldly. I was always annoyed by you when I was young. Yes, you were annoyed by me, but I liked to follow you. But every time I fell or got lost, you would always be the first to find the adults in the residence. You? Long Xuanxuang was stunned and looked at him in surprise. How did you know? Chu Hen smiled and did not say much. In fact, when he was young, he always thought that Long Xuanxuang hated him. But ever since he saw the scene of him being brought back to the Long residence by General Long Bo and Marshal Sex, Time Wheel, he realized that it was not that Long Xuanxuang did not dislike him, but that she always hid her true feelings in her heart. My house is in front, Big Brother Chu Hen, Big Sister Qianyu, Big Sister Xuanxuang. Do you want to come in and sit? Yi Yao said. Okay. Bai Qianyu readily agreed. But Long Xuanxuang looked at Chu Hen with a somewhat complicated expression. The latter said lightly, I'm not going. Bai Qianyu was startled. Why? Wasn't his relationship with Yi Yao very good? Since they grew up together, they should be very familiar with Yi Yao's family. Soon, Yi Yao reacted. She bit her lips and said timidly, My sister did something to hurt Big Brother Chu Hen in the past. Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes flickered, and she couldn't help but regret agreeing too quickly. Looking at the guilty look on Yi Yao's face, Chu Hen rubbed her head. It's not because of that. I just want to go to the old house to have a look. Then are you really not angry at me anymore? Chu Hen shook his head with a smile. I've already gotten over it. I haven't been home for so many years. You should go back and have a look. All right, I'll look for you guys later. With that, Yi Yao waved at the three of them. Then, she summoned the Yin-Yang beast, Noni, and skipped towards the Yi family's mansion. Looking at the somewhat deep expression on Chu Hen's face, Bai Qianyu understood that not everything here was a good memory. In fact, Chu Hen's heart had already gotten over it. The things in the past, in his opinion, were nothing more than a joke. However, some people, it's not that he didn't want to see them, but there was no need to. I'm back, Dad, Mom, Sister, the cutest little girl in your family is back. As soon as she entered the Yi Mansion's gate, Yi Yao shouted at the top of her lungs. Hearing the commotion, the Yi mansion's servants quickly gathered around. Is the second Miss back? It's really the second Mississippi. I'm not dreaming, am I? Oh my God! My poor second Miss, how long has it been since you last came? Seventh aunt has been dreaming of your return. Yi Yao had been well behaved since she was a child. Unlike her sister, Yi Yu, who was proud and arrogant, Yi Yao almost had no ulterior motives. Her kindness also made the Yi mansion particularly fond of her. At the same time, in the front yard's hall, a woman who looked to be in her 40s ran out first. Yao, you're back? Ha ha ha, it's me. Mother, did you miss me? Yes, of course I missed you. That woman was the wife of the Yi family, Madame Yili. She went forward and held Yi Yao in her arms, her eyes red. Yao, where have you been all these years? I thought about you every day and night, hoping that you would come back. I was afraid that you would meet with an accident outside. You're finally back today. I'm back now. At the same time, two figures walked out of the hall one after another. One was the family head, Yi Qing. The other was tall, and had an outstanding temperament. It was Yi Yu. Little Yao, you're back. Yi Qing and Yi Yu also hurried to welcome them. Father, sister. Yi Yao, who was held by Madame Yili, waved her little hand to greet them. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Yi Qing's face also showed a bit of joy. However, Yi Qing was not as happy as imagined. Yi Yu also looked gloomy, as if she had a lot on her mind. What happened at home? Why do you all look like this? Seeing that everyone looked a little strange, Yi Yao could not help but break away from Madame Yili's arms, and asked in confusion. Nothing, nothing. Yi Qing waved his hand, and then told the seventh aunt beside him, Seventh aunt, go to prepare little Yao's favorite dishes and snacks, and close the door early today. Yes, master. Come, little Yao, come to the room quickly. Father, why close the door early? It's still early. Nothing, it's such a happy day, I don't want others to disturb our family. After saying that, Yi Qing took Yi Yao's hand and walked into the room with Yi Yu and Madame Yili. Bang! However, as soon as they stepped into the room, the closed door of the mansion was directly kicked open. I say, Yi family head, it's just a little past noon. Why are you so anxious to close the door? A haughty voice was heard. Yi Qing, Yi Yu, and the others all changed their faces. Come, carry these things in for me, the man continued to say. Then, more than a dozen people carrying several big boxes swaggered into the courtyard of the Yi mansion. Yi Qing frowned and asked, Dao Kong, what are you doing here? I have already said that I will not marry my daughter to you. Haha, Yi family head, no, father-in-law, marriage is an important matter. How can you go back on your words? In order to let Yi Yu break through to the profound world realm, I have sent so many elixirs to your family. You have agreed to it, and now you are going back on your words. Isn't this a slap to my face? The speaker was a young man in his 20s. This person was not bad-looking, and his clothes were quite noble, but his shameless and arrogant manner was really disgusting. Although he called Yi Qing father-in-law, his words and actions did not have the slightest bit of respect. Who is this person? Yi Yao frowned and asked. Alas! Madame Yili sighed and answered rather helplessly, Dao Kong, the eldest son of the Dao family. His family is quite influential in the city of General. Half a year ago, he met your sister. At first, he was very dependent on her, but he did not know that he was just playing around, and who knows how many women he had secretly been with. Yi Yu also rushed forward, and with a firm attitude she scolded, Dao Kong, I will not marry you, just give up. Ha 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 ha, I say, Yi Yu, I, Dao Kong, am not even 30 years old, and I have already reached the profound sky realm. In the entire 100-nation state, I can be said to be a rare existence. I see you, it is your fortune. What else is there to be dissatisfied with? You. Yi Yu was so angry that her face turned pale and she clenched her teeth. Today, these things are the betrothal gifts for your Yi family. Within 3 days, I will come and marry you in a grand manner. Don't even think of escaping, you can't escape. Dao Kang's words directly made Yi Qing and his daughter tremble in anger. And at this moment, a somewhat playful voice was heard. You want to marry my sister? Yi Yu and Yi Qing were both startled. Dao Kang's gaze slanted, and when he saw Yi Yao walking over, his eyes instantly lit up. You are. My name is Yi Yao, the second young mistress of the Yi family. Looking at Yi Yu, whose temperament and appearance far surpassed Yi Yao, Dao Kang's eyes widened, and he could not help but reveal a wretched smile. Hee, I didn't expect the Yi family to have such a little beauty like you. The heavens are really too kind to me. Why don't you two marry into my family? Bastard! Yi Qing scolded. Very quickly, Yi Yao stopped him, and then said with a smile, Sure. Really? Dao Kang swallowed his saliva. Of course, but it was just one person earlier, and now there are 2 people. Don't you want to add more betrothal gifts? Of course, I am very happy today, so I will give you a rank sacred weapon as the betrothal gift. After saying that, Dao Kang raised his hand and took out a small red ball that was flickering with a flowing light. The small ball was shining with a red light, and waves of obscure energy rippled in all directions like water ripples. Blazing pearl, a ranked sacred weapon. Is this sincere enough? Dao Kang said proudly. At the same time, he secretly thought to himself, I will first deceive Yi Yao, and then I will take back the blazing pearl. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone, how perfect! Little Yao, what are you doing? Yi Yu was a little anxious. However, Yi Yao slightly pushed Yi Yu away, and she raised her hand to take the blazing pearl from Dao Kang's hand. Is this a sacred weapon? Don't tell me you are lying to us? How is that possible? This is rare in this world. Crack! Before Dao Kang could even finish his words, the blazing pearl in Yi Yao's hand had already started to crack. It's fake, it will shatter with 1 touch. Yi Yao opened her bright eyes wide and said innocently. Then, she gently clenched her fist, and under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the blazing pearl immediately turned into a red powder. This book is from Chapter 1523. Qianqian, the latest chapter of Divine King Wu Ji. Bang! Seeing the blazing pearl explode into dust in Yi Yao's hands, the Yi family and Dao Kang's faces changed. You! Dao Kang's eyes widened in shock. Yi Yao dusted her hands and shook off the powder on her palms. What a weak, sacred weapon! It shattered with 1 pinch. Who are you? Dao Kang's eyes widened, and there was still fear on his face. Destroying a sacred weapon so easily, even someone at the peak of the 9th level of the profound sky realm could not do it. Could it be that this young girl before him was a peak expert of the ancient eternal realm? You just said that you're a super genius of the profound sky realm? Am I right? Yi Yao pretended to pause and teased. The moment she said that, an invisible aura emanated from Yi Yao's body. Bang! Dao Kang's knees bent and he knelt on the ground. Why are you kneeling? In order to marry us 2 sisters, you are so sincere? I'm embarrassed. Yi Yao covered her mouth and laughed. Yi Qing, Yi Yu, and the rest were shocked. Dao Kang's face changed. He felt like he was shouldering a heavy burden. Not to mention standing up, he could not even move. The most terrifying thing was that the true yuan in his body seemed to have stopped and could not be used at all. Quick, help me up! Dao Kang shouted to his underlings behind him. Oh! Yes. Everyone hurriedly went forward and supported Dao Kang's shoulders as they lifted him up. However, Dao Kang's knees seemed to have grown from the ground. The 7 or 8 strong men were unable to move him at all. Yi Qing, Yi Yu, and the rest of the Yi residents were shocked and confused. They looked at the innocent and obedient Yi Yao in shock. Looks like the profound sky realm is nothing much. I thought you were powerful. With that, Yi Yao waved her hand. Bang, bang, bang. The people in front of him were all thrown out, and they all fell in a mess, pissing their pants in terror. You. Dao Kang's face turned red and he said viciously, I won't let you off. Let me tell you, my third uncle is a high-ranking member of the General Union. Upon hearing the two words, General Alliance, the expressions of the Yi family members all changed. On the other hand, Yi Yao was even happier. What a coincidence! I know someone in the Alliance of Generals. Maybe you're not familiar with his name. He's called Chu Hen. Do you know him? While what? Chu Hen, Chu Hen? Clang! In an instant, Dao Kong and the others turned pale. All of them were so terrified that they didn't know what to do. You know Chu Hen? Yeah. Moreover, my big brother Chu Hen is in Burning Rain City. I'll go and call him over now. No. I know I'm wrong, I won't harass you anymore. Dao Kong was scared out of his wits. He scrambled to his feet and pointed at the people around him. Go, let's go. Hey, didn't you say my sister owes you some kind of medicinal pill? I'll return it to you another day. No. We don't owe you anything. We don't owe you anything at all. We'll take our leave now. With that said, Dao Kong and the rest ran out in a panic, covering their heads and scurrying out of the door like frightened rats. Looking at Dao Kong and the others who were scared out of their wits, everyone in the Yi family felt a sense of relief. In the past few months, they had been scared out of their wits. Today, it was finally their turn to turn around. On the other hand, Yi Qing and the others were in disbelief. Little Yao, how could you? This kind of toad wants to marry my Yi Yao's sister? What's so great about a profound heaven's realm martial artist? Noni can kill a bunch of them with just one claw. Meow. The yin-yang beast next to him responded. A profound heaven's realm martial artist could kill a bunch of them with just one claw. Yi Qing looked at Noni who was lying on the side of the road, then looked at Yi Yao. Little Yao, your cultivation base? Don't tell me you've already reached the ancient eternal stage? Yi Qing's voice was trembling as he asked tentatively. Ancient eternal stage? It seems to be a little higher than the ancient eternal stage. Higher than the ancient eternal stage? Yi Qing and Yi Yu looked at each other and saw the disbelief in each other's eyes. Could it be? I'm already at the Saint King stage. Rumble! It was as if they were struck by lightning. Yi Qing and his daughter's faces instantly turned pale. Really? Yi Yu's voice was trembling and her body was shaking uneasily. Yes. Yi Yao nodded. Shock. It was an unprecedented shock. One should know that to them, and even the entire 100-nation state, the so-called Saint King stage existed only in legends. Since ancient times, there had never been a Saint King stage powerhouse in the 100-nation state. Now, their Yi family had a Saint King stage powerhouse. Yi Qing could not help but be in a trance as if he was in a dream. Is it because of him? Yi Yu asked tentatively as she clenched her teeth. The him she was referring to was naturally Chu Hen. Yes, it's all thanks to Big Brother Chu Hen that I could break through to the Saint King stage. What about him? Yi Yu's fingers gently clenched together. Yi Yao paused for a moment. She hesitated for a moment, but still replied softly, Big Brother Chu Hen is an entire rank higher than me. Clang! The continuous shock made one's scalp go numb. Yi Yu could not stand steadily anymore. She even regretted asking these questions. Even Yi Qing could not help but clench his fists. His eyes were filled with shock and complicated emotions. He clearly remembered that more than 10 years ago, on that windy and snowy night, Chu Hen, who was framed, dragged 2 long bloodstains on the snowy ground because of the broken tendons in his arms and legs. It was also because of that time that the relationship between Yi Yu and Chu Hen was completely broken. If it had not been for that time, it might have been a different situation. She looked at Yi Yao in front of her, her eyes filled with indescribable complexity. Her own sister. She had already stepped into the legendary Saint King stage, and she herself was still struggling at the level of the profound world realm. This was fate. This gap. But it was somewhat ridiculous. It was really a joke of fate. Is he really in Flame City? Yi Qing asked in a deep voice. Feeling the uneasiness of her father and sister, Yi Yao also sighed softly. I invited big brother Chu Hen to come to our house, but he did not come. But he said that the past should be left in the past. Sigh. Yi Qing heaved a deep sigh. One wrong step. One wrong step. Who would have thought that the boy who had watched him grow up, but did not like him, would grow to such a point today? Long Zhan, you raised a good son. On the streets of Flame City, Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang seemed to be in deep thought. This was the place they were most familiar with. It was also the place where their family used to gather. I thought you had forgotten, Long Xuanxuang said to break the silence. Chu Hen shook his head slightly. How could I forget? I have always remembered. I originally wanted to come back alone. What are you talking about? Bai Qianyu asked in confusion. Chu Hen looked at her and whispered, Today is the 10th anniversary of my adoptive father's death. Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes rippled. No wonder you didn't go to Kuan City, but came back here first. Chu Hen nodded. His thoughts seemed to go back to that year's incident in the capital. In order to protect himself, Long Zhan committed suicide outside the capital. In the blink of an eye, 10 years had passed. Everything in Flame City was the same as before, but the people had changed. Time flies. Long Xuanxuang murmured. Yes. In the blink of an eye, 10 years have passed. With a heavy heart, they unknowingly walked to the familiar gate of the mansion. The past seemed to surge in their hearts again. That imposing, tall, stern, and warm figure involuntarily surfaced in their hearts. At this moment, Long Xuanxuang and Chu Hen were stunned. What was puzzling was that the gate of the Long family's mansion was half open. After Long Zhan's death, the general's mansion was sealed by the royal family of the Sacred Star dynasty. Although the alliance was established, the people of the Long family had already moved to the capital city. No one lived in this old house. Could it be? Long Xuanxuang and Chu Hen looked at each other and saw the excitement in each other's eyes. Long Qingyang is back? Chapter 1524. Long Qingyang was back? Looking at the half-open door of the Long Manor and the special day today, Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang's first reaction was that Long Qingyang had returned. The two immediately entered the courtyard. As far as the eye could see, the entire courtyard of the Long Manor was clean and tidy, without a speck of dust. It must be Big Brother, Chu Hen said excitedly. Long Xuanxuang nodded affirmatively. At the same time, a slight noise came from the front hall. The two of them looked at each other, and without saying a word, they directly ran towards the front courtyard hall. Big Brother, are you back? Bang! As soon as he finished speaking, a porcelain cup fell to the ground and shattered into countless pieces. Chu Hen, Xuanxuang, why are you back? A shocked female voice came into their ears. Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang were stunned as well. A young lady with a graceful figure and fair skin was sweeping the dust on the table. Beside her hand there were a few glasses that had been knocked over in her panic just now. Sister-in-law? Why are you here? The person in the room was none other than Su Yorong. Faced with the sudden appearance of Chu Hen and his brother, Su Yorong could not react for a moment. She composed herself and replied, I come here every year at this time. Chu Hen was even more surprised. So you know what day it is? Big Brother Qingyang told me before that today is the anniversary of your father's death. Because there is no tomb, I could only come to your ancestral home to clean up the weeds in the courtyard, Su Yorong said as she walked towards the two. When did you come back? Why didn't you inform me in advance? If I had known, I would have waited for you at Victorious East State. Chu Hen smiled and shook his head. We didn't go to Kuan City, we came directly from Mount Kunliu. Sister-in-law, when did you come? Why didn't I hear from the guards of the General League that you were here? I've been here for a few days now. Due to some private matters, I didn't want to disturb Principal Song and the others, so I ordered the guards guarding the teleportation portal not to spread the news of my arrival. Su Yorong said. I see. Chu Hen gently nodded. Although the person in front of him wasn't Long Qingyang, Chu Hen still felt a warmth in his heart. Su Yorong had yet to marry into the Long family, so she and Long Qingyang could not be considered husband and wife. However, Su Yorong would come here every year to pay her respects to Long Zhan, which was really touching. Big brother hasn't come back yet? Chu Hen asked. Su Yorong bit her lips, and a trace of dryness flashed in her eyes. Not yet. Come to think of it, he has been gone for more than 6 years. Seeing this, Chu Hen stepped forward and held Su Yorong's shoulder. Don't worry. Eldest sister-in-law, my eldest brother will definitely come back. When he comes back, I will help you kick him a couple of times to help you vent your anger. Leaving such a gentle and virtuous woman at home alone for so long, I will definitely help you teach him a lesson. Pfft. Su Yorong couldn't help but laugh. All right, as long as he comes back soon, it'll be enough for me to know that he's safe and sound. Safe and sound. These 4 words struck Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang's hearts like a heavy hammer. More than 6 years. There was no news at all. To be honest, it wasn't worrying. Whether he was alive or dead. They still didn't know. This young lady is? Su Yorong finally noticed by Qianyu standing at the door. Chu Hen hesitated for a moment before replying. A friend I met in Midland. You can say that she's my creditor. Creditor? Su Yorong was stunned. She saw a trace of strangeness in Chu Hen's expression. Hello, I'm Bai Qianyu. Bai Qianyu stepped forward and briefly introduced herself. What a nice name. It matches your appearance very well. Su Yorong politely nodded her head, then looked at Chu Hen with deep meaning in her eyes, and smiled as if she understood something. After staying in the Long mansion for about an hour, Chu Hen and the other 3 returned outside. In these few days, Su Yorong had already cleaned up the inside. Under the gaze of Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang, Su Yorong carefully locked the door, then turned around and smiled at them. Let's go. In the past, I always came and left alone. This time, I have you guys. Chu Hen also smiled knowingly. At the same time, on the other side of the alley, Yi Yu pulled Yi Yao, who was beside her. What's wrong? Yi Yao asked confusedly. Don't you have something to say to Big Brother Chu Hen? No need. Yi Yu shook her head. In fact, she wanted to apologize to Chu Hen. But after seeing him with her own eyes, she felt that she didn't even have the right to chase after Chu Hen's back. Especially when she saw Bai Qianyu who was beside Chu Hen. That feeling of self-shame was magnified infinitely. It turned out that there was a reason why Chu Hen didn't want to see the rest of the Yi family. Yi Yu also completely believed that Chu Hen had already let go of the past. Because she didn't even have the right to make Chu Hen care about her anymore. Chu Hen and the other 3 had just come out of the Long mansion. Before they could take a few steps, a burly middle-aged figure blocked their way. I've finally found you. Even Sect Master Su is here. Seeing the person in front of him, Chu Hen smiled brightly. Long time no see. Hunter Cheng. Little rascal, I missed you so much after so many years. Song Qinglai walked up and gave Chu Hen a big bear hug. Chu Hen also patted him on the back. Thank you, Hunter Cheng, for remembering me. Ha ha ha, what are you talking about? You were personally brought into the Heavenly Star Martial House by me, Song Qinglai. If it wasn't for Shilan who snatched you away that year, you would definitely be in my hands. At the mention of Shilan, Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang's eyes flashed with a hint of loneliness. However, Chu Hen didn't show it. Let's go. Hunter Cheng. Yes, I've already informed Koan City. They should be sending someone over soon. No need, we'll return to Dongxing State now. So soon? Yes, everything here has been settled. That's good too. Everyone you're familiar with is now in Koan City. Other than me, everyone else has gone to Dongxing State. Koan City. in a majestic hall that was much more luxurious than the emperor's palace. "Welcome back." The leader of Mount Kunliu, Gong Yangyu, looked at the young man he hadn't seen for more than 4 years with joy in his eyes. Behind him stood the 3 hall masters of Mount Kunliu. They were the leader of Fairy Hall, Qi Hanyu, the leader of Demon Slaying Hall, Wen Liang, and the leader of Void Hall, Xie Wuhe. After 4 years, it felt like dozens of years had passed. Looking at Chu Hen, whose temperament was completely different from before, everyone sighed. "Leader Gong Yangyu, how have you been?" Chu Hen's gaze was calm. He had the happiness of meeting an old friend of many years, as well as a kind of calm and reserved calmness. "I heard that Chu Hen is back? I'm going to see him. After so many years, he's finally willing to come back." Outside the main hall, a series of chattering noises could be heard from afar. "Junior brother Chu Hen, you're really back?" A young man with a strong aura rushed in, his eyes shining. "Senior brother Shan Zhen. Welcome back," a gentle and beautiful girl said. "Long time no see, senior sister Ling Yan." "Wow, Chu Hen, it's really you. I missed you so much." A cute figure immediately threw herself into Chu Hen's embrace, hugging him as she cried out in surprise. Chu Hen was speechless. "Huashue, there are so many people around." "I don't care. I'm bored to death when you're not around. These people are not as fun as you." At the same time, Fu Qin, Jishu, and Nongqi walked in. After that, Principal Jiang, President Qiao, and other acquaintances gathered here. "His luck with women is really good." At the side of the hall, Bai Qianyu looked at Chu Hen, who was hugged by Huashue. There was a little bitterness in her eyes. Long Xuanshuang smiled. "But the way he looks at you is different from the others." Bai Qianyu raised her eyebrows and a faint smile appeared at the corner of her mouth. The news of Chu Hen's return caused a huge sensation in Kuan City. Many of his good friends rushed here after hearing the news. Looking at the familiar faces in front of him, Chu Hen felt gratified in his heart. "This time, I've brought some gifts for everyone." "What's that? Is there anything for me?" Hua Shui opened her eyes wide and giggled. "Of course." With that, Chu Hen waved his hand. Whoosh! A dazzling light flashed, causing everyone's pupils to shrink. In the next moment, a few boxes appeared in the hall. The expressions of the 3 hall masters changed. Even Gong Yangyu could not help but squint his eyes. "This is divine weapons?" Everyone couldn't help but clench their fists as they sensed the powerful energy fluctuations coming from those weapons. Divine weapons, elixirs, ancient scrolls. Each and every one of these dazzling items didn't look like ordinary items. Unprecedented shock filled everyone's face. These are all." Danjun was in disbelief. "Yes." Chu Hen nodded. "They're all for you." Chapter 1525. Kuan City is indeed built like a paradise on earth. It's even more magnificent than I imagined in the evening. Chu Hen and Gong Yangyu stood on the main city wall of Kuan City. Looking at the magnificent city in front of them, Chu Hen's eyes were filled with amazement. The main peak of the Mount Kunliu sect was located on the north side of Kuan City. South of the mountain gate was Kuan City. Moreover, between the mountain gate and Kuan City, there were also magnificent stargazing towers and towering city towers. The vast mountain gate was connected to the vast city. It was a coexistence of peace and prosperity. Even though the city of Kuan was bustling with activity and bustling with people, it did not affect the cultivation of the disciples of Mount Kuan Lu. On the contrary, after cultivating, the disciples of the sect would form groups of 2 or 3 to relax in Kuan City. The scale of the construction of Kuan City is very large. Back then, we spent a lot of manpower and resources. We even borrowed a lot of resources from Sect Master Qiao Yong and Hall Master Xing Yi. Looking at the magnificent city tower that stretched as far as the eye could see, Gong Yangyu had a look of accomplishment on his face. Kuan City covered a vast area. Large and small inner cities and outer cities were lined up row upon row. This kind of appearance was something that not even 10 Thunder Saint palaces could compare to. If I'm not wrong, this should be the construction plan of Hall Master Chi Hanyu, right? Chu Hen said. Gong Yongyu was startled. You can even guess this? Ha 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 ha. Chu Hen laughed heartily. Hall Master Chi purposely built the sect beside Kuan City. Isn't it to set up a bustling place for you to have fun? Gong Yongyu was speechless. After all, he had a dark history. Back then, Gong Yongyu had only taken over as the sect master of Mount Kunliu for a few months before he sneaked out and had fun alone. Thus, the four ladies, Qin, Qi, Shu, Hua, and Qin, had been bitterly searching for Gong Yongyu. In the end, due to a freak combination of factors, Gong Yongyu didn't find him and instead dragged Chu Hen to Mount Kunliu's sect. Of course, after talking with Gong Yongyu, he found out that it was actually Gong Yongyu who made a bet with Li Wushang. In the end, he lost the bet, which was why he gave the position of Mount Kunliu to Chu Hen. The reason Li Wushang did that was most likely to make Chu Hen leave the tiny 100-nation state. Perhaps it was also because she was afraid that Gong Yongyu would not be able to endure the peace and quiet of the sect, and was worried that he would slip away by himself one day. That was why Chi Hanyu thought of building the newly moved Mount Kunliu and Kuan City together. It had to be said that this was a precedent in Victory East Province. Kuan City was filled with people from everywhere. All the great clans relied on this place. While they enjoyed the bustle of Kuan City, they could also send their younger generations to Mount Kunliu for cultivation. It was this brand new model that allowed Mount Kunliu's reputation and power to grow tremendously. The myriad world sect, Johua Palace, and Mount Kunliu gradually stabilized the situation in the victorious East State. Sect Master Gong Yang is already at a bottleneck, right? Chu Hen smiled. Gong Yongyu was taken aback. Soon after, he smiled and shook his head. I really can't hide anything from you. I've been stuck at the pinnacle of the ancient realm for almost a year now, and I can't even sense the critical point of breaking through. But this time, you brought so many elixirs, so you should be able to break through the bottleneck. Chu Hen nodded. Indeed, compared to the Midland, this Eastern Victory Province was way too small. In the Eastern region, there were countless provinces of various sizes. Back then, the strongest ancient eternal realm cultivator in the Eastern Victory State was not even worth mentioning to the current him. I'm wondering if I should send something over to Sect Leader Qiao and Hall Master Xing. Gong Yongyu said. After all, they were all brought over by Chu Hen, so it was only right for him to seek his opinion before he sent them out. No need, they all have, Chu Hen replied. Both? Before returning, Chu Hen distributed the dozen or so boxes of treasures sent over by Wang Li and Wu Yan to Qiao Shaowan, Han Yichuan, and Mu Feng, ordering them to bring them back to their respective sects. In Mu Feng's words, it was returning home in glory. After all, they were all friends who had gone through life and death together, so Chu Hen naturally would not neglect anyone. No wonder Qiao Yong and Xing Yi haven't come here yet. It seems that they're preparing to enter retreat to break through to the Saint King realm. Gong Yongyu could not help but understand. Previously, he had thought it was strange. Logically speaking, the news of Chu Hen's return had already reached the Thousand World Sect and Johua Palace. With Qiao Yong and Xing Yi's personalities, they would definitely come to Kuan City. If they didn't come soon, they would only be delayed in cultivating their will. I can't wait any longer, Gong Yongyu said with a hopeful expression. It was not just Gong Yongyu. Sect Master Qiao Yong of the Thousand World Sect and Hall Master Xing Yi of Johua Palace were also stuck at the peak of the ancient eternal realm, unable to break through. If anyone could break through to the Saint King realm first, the three-way balance in Victory East Province would be broken. Therefore, while these three great forces supported each other, they were also secretly competing against each other. Have you found the man with the same eyes as you? Gong Yongyu asked in a deep tone. Chu Hen shook his head, a complicated look appearing on his face. Li Wushang. Where was he hiding? This was also the question that Chu Hen had always wanted to know the answer to. By the way, has Mount Kunlu been targeted by anyone in the past few years? Chu Hen suddenly asked. Gong Yangyu's expression turned serious as he replied solemnly. Yes. Who are they? Chu Hen continued to ask. The holy race. Gong Yangyu said word by word in a serious tone, the Radiant's holy race. What? There seemed to be invisible ripples in the air. Chu Hen's eyes were suffused with a trace of frost. As expected, before, the Radiant's holy race had followed him all the way to the immortal and devil tomb at the border of Midland. They wouldn't stay still. Did they do anything? Chu Hen asked in a deep voice. Not really. They didn't make any direct contact with us, but we all sensed it. These years, the Radiant's holy race has been secretly watching us, including Kuan City, where there is a stronghold of the Radiant's holy race. However, they didn't openly target Mount Kunlu, so we just turned a blind eye. After listening to Gong Yangyu's story, Chu Hen's expression softened a little. It seemed that the Radiant's holy race also had some concerns, which was why they didn't openly attack Mount Kunlu. Of course, even if they targeted Mount Kunlu, it would be useless. After all, their target was only him. More precisely, it was the Sky Chi token he had. So, the Radiant's holy race already knows that I've returned to Victory East Province. Chu Hen murmured to himself. Is there any grudge between you and the Radiant's holy race? Gong Yangyu was still quite confused about this. Chu Hen shook his head slightly. I'll handle this myself. Just give me all the information you've collected about the Radiant's holy race, sect leader Gong Yangyu. Seeing the calmness in Chu Hen's eyes, Gong Yangyu just nodded. At this moment, Gong Yangyu was also well aware that he was no longer powerful enough to interfere with Chu Hen's affairs. Then I'll hurry up and go into seclusion. I'll try to break through to the Saint King realm as soon as possible. Then, I'll be able to help if anything happens. All right. The evening had passed, and the night had fallen. As far as the eye could see, Kuan City was bustling with life and wine. Although it feels like a blow, I still want to ask you, what level have you reached? Gong Yangyu asked expectantly. Chu Hen faintly smiled, then spat out a few words. Great Saint King realm. Whoa! What followed was a shocked expression on Gong Yangyu's face, and he couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. Night. Kuan City was filled with songs and dances. The bright lights made it seem like a city that never sleeps. Chu Hen stood at the top of the city tower. His deep eyes were fixed on the corner of the alley that was shrouded in darkness. The Radiant's holy race had never given up. Perhaps they were waiting for him to return here. The Sky Chi token. It was connected to the source of all evil in the God-forbidden blood prison. At the same time, it was also connected to Tuoba Shah's fate. Senior Tuoba, please hold on a little longer. Chapter 1526. Kuan City is still the most fun. I can't even stay in the Thousand World sect for another day. Ha ha, good thing my brother and I didn't follow you to the Thousand World sect. It's so lively here, there's everything. It's much more fun than our hidden Sky City. I didn't think that a tiny victorious East state could build such a prosperous capital city. It's also my first time seeing an inner city built halfway up a mountain. On the main tower of Kuan City, Zhao Qingyi and Zhao Qingkai, as well as Mo Qingli, who had brought Qingxue back after playing outside for the whole day. Qiao Shaowan and Han Ichuan, who came back in the afternoon, also walked with them. Apart from these people, there was a new addition. On Qingxue's shoulder, there was an especially cute little monkey. The little monkey was the size of a cat, but its fur was golden. It was holding an apple in its tiny hands, and the apple was bigger than the palm of his hand by a size. Ah Tao, do you want more candied hawthorn? Qingxue handed a stick of candied hawthorn to the little monkey. The monkey looked at the candied hawthorn, then at the apple in its hand, as if hesitating on which one to take first. Don't give it, its hands are only so big. It needs both paws to grab an apple. Give it after it finishes eating. Zhao Qingyi smiled. That's true. Qingxue nodded, then turned to the side and said, I'll leave the candied hawthorn for you first. We'll talk about it after you finish eating the apple. The little monkey let out a squeak, as if responding to her. So obedient, just like Dabai. Dabai? What's that? Zhao Qingkai asked in confusion. Dabai is a big bear, a pet I kept in the Beichuan ice region. But most of the time it was Dabai who took care of me. Thinking of the big white bear in the Beichuan ice region, Qingxue couldn't help but reminisce. When she grew up and was able to go out on her own, she definitely wanted to go back and see the companion that had accompanied her for more than 10 years. Looks like our Qingxue is especially loved by demonic beasts. Zhao Qingyi rubbed her head, as if she was her elder brother. Gigi, at this time, the eyes of the little monkey on Qingxue's shoulder were full of excitement. It stretched out its furry little paw and pointed forward. It's Chu Hen. Everyone's eyes lit up. He saw Chu Hen standing alone on the tall and imposing city gate tower. Hearing the commotion, Chu Hen also turned around. You're back? Qiao Shaowan ran up to him first. Chu Hen nodded his head, but he looked at the little monkey on Qingxue's shoulder in astonishment. You're here too? Little fellow. Huh? Does Brother Chu Hen know Ah Tao? Qingxue asked with her eyes wide open. Tao. Chu Hen was taken aback. Yeah. I named it this afternoon. Don't monkeys like to eat peaches? The other party probably didn't know that while this little monkey looked harmless and cute to the point of making others unwilling to let go of it, in reality, its true form was violent to the point of destroying the heavens and the earth. During the battle with the Thunder Saint Palace, the little monkey showed its extremely terrifying side. However, when Chu Hen and the others left the East region, they left the little monkey in the victorious East region. They thought that it had returned to the forest. They didn't expect it to still be in Kuan City. Gg. Seeing Chu Hen, the little monkey seemed to be exceptionally happy. It jumped down from Qingxue's shoulder and climbed onto Chu Hen's body. Ah Tao and Brother Chu Hen seemed to be very close, Qingxue said in surprise. Of course, this little monkey is one of Chu Hen's summoned beasts. Han Yichuan explained. In the past, he and Qiao Shaowan had seen the little monkey's true form. Therefore, it wasn't surprising. I wonder what kind of species this fellow is? Is it a gorilla? Or a Haokong blood ape? The two ape-type demonic beasts that Qiao Shaowan mentioned were above the venerable level and could grow into the sage level. The little monkey was clearly still in its growing stage. It had that kind of combat power. When it reached maturity, it would definitely not be weaker than any of the sage beasts. It doesn't seem like it. The fur of the gorilla and Haokong blood apes are not golden. Zhao Qingyi denied. There is a type of ape-type demonic beast with golden fur. Emo Qingli suddenly said. The few of them were stunned. Her red lips moved slightly as she said in a low voice. Lesser ancient ape demon. Hearing these 4 words, the few of them couldn't help but squint their eyes. On the contrary, Chu Hen's face was full of confusion. What is a lesser ancient ape demon? It is a very ancient demonic beast of the ape race. Its bloodline can be traced back to tens of thousands of years ago. Legend has it that the lesser ancient ape demon is extremely tyrannical and has 3 heads and 6 arms. It can even compete with the legendary giant dragons and Qilins for food, Han Yichuan explained. But there isn't much information about the lesser ancient ape demon in the history books. Moreover, it has been a long time since anyone has confirmed its existence. I think the possibility of this is extremely low. Indeed. Zhao Qingyi also nodded in agreement with Han Yichuan's words. The lesser ancient ape demon is ferocious and aggressive. Even the giant dragons and other divine beasts fear it. It shouldn't be it. It could compete with the giant dragons. The lesser ancient ape demon with 3 heads and 6 arms could definitely be called a great ancient beast. But this little monkey in front of them was not only adorable, but it also had a pair of big round eyes that were full of beauty. It was the complete opposite of its characteristics. When it transformed into its original form, it did not have the legendary 3 heads and 6 arms. With regards to this kind of speculation, everyone just laughed it off. No matter what, I'm very happy to be able to see you again. Chu Hen rubbed the little monkey's round head. Gee. The little monkey rubbed its head against Chu Hen's face intimately, then jumped a few times before returning to Qingshue's shoulder. Looks like it likes you more. Chu Hen laughed. That's right. Atao is very cute. Everyone smiled. Immediately, everyone returned to Kuan City's main residence. The few of them walked around Qingxue, while Chu Hen and Mo Qingli followed behind. How do you feel? Chu Hen asked. Mo Qingli smiled lightly. It's okay. After interacting with her, it's not as awkward as I imagined. That's good. She's a little special. At this time, Mo Qingli said. Following the direction of her gaze, Chu Hen looked towards the innocent and adorable figure that was being doted on by a few people. Qingxue? She's indeed very likable. Not just like, she has an aura that makes people feel close to her. Not only does she attract ordinary people, she also attracts beasts. Chu Hen was startled, but he quickly realized that other than him, Mo Qingli did not communicate with anyone else. This time, she took the initiative to help take care of Qingxue. Perhaps there were other reasons, but with her personality, taking care of a little girl was not something she would do. After thinking for a while, Chu Hen shook his head helplessly. Although he was a little confused, Qingshue's arrival brought joy to everyone. Just this point alone was enough. The next evening, in the courtyard that Chu Hen lived alone. Junior Chu Hen, here is all the information you need. Danjun placed a thick stack of papers on the table in front of Chu Hen, a solemn expression on her face. Chu Hen nodded. I'll have to trouble you then. Junior Chu Hen, you're too kind. Unfortunately, my cultivation is not good enough. I can't help Junior Chu Hen much. Danjun's eyes were somewhat lonely. That year, the two of them were at the same starting line. Now, not to mention herself, even Sect Master Gong Yang, you could only look up to Chu Hen's back. Senior Shanjun, you don't need to be so humble. The achievements of Mount Kuan Lu today have a lot to do with your management. Danjun smiled and didn't say anything else. Senior Shanjun, send someone to the Heavenly Sword Pavilion and the Yi family. Inform Mu Feng and Yi Yao to return in 3 days. Chu Hen said. Okay, I'll send someone to do it. And with that, Danjun left a pile of information on the table and left the courtyard. Soon after, Chu Hen picked up the letter in front of him and carefully read the information inside. The corners of his eyes couldn't help but narrow. What are you doing? At this moment, an elegant and refined figure walked in from outside the courtyard. Chu Hen raised his head and looked at the other party's beautiful face. Bai Qianyu's red lips twitched slightly, her bright peach blossom eyes a little puzzled. What's wrong? Chu Hen didn't answer. He just stared at her in a daze. Bai Qianyu felt a little uncomfortable under the other party's stare. She blushed and avoided his gaze. Why are you looking at me like that? Do you think? Chu Hen frowned lightly as he asked in a low voice. Do you think we'll be able to defeat a quasi-emperor powerhouse if we join forces? P.S. If the reader has forgotten who the little monkey is, you can look back at Chapter 877, Shocking Ape Demon, or Chapter 698, Summoning Contract. Chapter 1527. Say, do you think we'll be able to defeat a quasi-emperor powerhouse if we join forces? Chu Hen stared fixedly at Bai Qianyu's beautiful clear eyes as he asked with some uncertainty. Huh! Bai Qianyu was stunned by Chu Hen's words. Her beautiful eyes wandered as she muttered in a low voice, and here I was wondering what it was. Are you sure you can defeat him? Chu Hen asked as he did not hear what Bai Qianyu had said. Aren't you a little too arrogant? Hua Wen, who's a heaven-ranked great saint king, almost killed you, and you still dare to fight a quasi-emperor? Emperor stage. A peerless transcendent who was above the great Saint King stage. An emperor stage powerhouse was a terrifying existence that stood at the top of the pyramid. A quasi-emperor. Although there was a quasi in it, there was also the word emperor in it. Anything that was related to the word quasi would definitely cause the world to tremble. I can't defeat him? Chu Hen frowned. I can, Bai Qianyu said. Really? Chu Hen's eyes lit up. It's just that the probability is low. Bai Qianyu replied nonchalantly. Then, she asked, why are you suddenly saying this? The Antiquity Saint clan won't brazenly send a quasi-emperor to kill you. Chu Hen shook his head. It's not the Antiquity Saint clan. Oh. Bai Qianyu was slightly surprised. Do you know about the Light Saint clan? Yes. I know a senior who has helped me many times. However, he offended the Light Saint clan. If I'm not mistaken, he should be imprisoned here. Chu Hen raised his hand and passed a scroll of information to Bai Qianyu. There was some information written on it in great detail. In the eastern province, Mang City, the forces in Mang City had never participated in any conflicts between the provinces in the eastern region. They usually kept a low profile. However, Mang City was the largest base of the Light Saint clan in the eastern region. The city lord of Mang City, Nangong Guangtong, appeared to be someone who stood aloof from worldly affairs on the surface, but his true identity was the vice-clan leader of the Radiance Saint clan. This person was extremely shrewd and his cultivation was unfathomable. According to the intelligence reports, Nangong Guangtong's cultivation was probably at the peak of the heaven-rank Great Saint King realm, and he was half a step into the Emperor realm. Although I'm not 100% sure if Nangong Guangtong has broken through to the quasi-emperor stage, he's definitely at the peak of the heaven-rank Great Saint King stage. After all, this was information regarding the sacred race. It was also rather difficult to collect them on Mount Kunliu. For the time being, Chu Hen classified him as a quasi-emperor. Mang Qing, deputy clan leader. Bai Qianyu's eyes rippled. Chu Hen continued, that senior of mine has a rather special identity. The Radiant Sacred Clan has been secretly targeting him. He should still be imprisoned in Mang City. Mang City was the Light Sacred Clan's largest stronghold in the eastern region. His strength was very strong. To the other sects and forces in the entire eastern region, Mang City itself was a particularly terrifying colossus. In their eyes, Tuoba Shah was merely an ant. Therefore, there was no need for Tuoba Shah to be imprisoned and sent to the Light Sacred Clan. Moreover, it was unrealistic. After all, the deputy clan leader was already hiding in Mang City. There was no need for him to go to a higher level. The Light Sacred Clan actually left a quasi-emperor in the eastern region. Bai Qianyu was also a little surprised as he flipped through the information in his hands. One should know that even the strongest expert in the War God Palace of the Midland, one of the 10 strongest divine clans, was only at the peak of the Earth-ranked Great Saint King stage, Duan Song. Of course, Duan Song and Nangong Guangtong's status in the clan was worlds apart. Duan Song's status was far inferior to Huawen's. However, Nangong Guangtong was already the deputy clan leader. That was also why Bai Qianyu was surprised. It seems like the senior you mentioned is highly valued by the Light Sacred Clan, Bai Qianyu said. Chu Hen nodded, and there was more or less helplessness between his brows. Tuoba Shah's life was especially difficult. He used to be a good man who was respected by his neighbors. However, because of the Qitian token, his entire family was killed. He had also become a demon and embarked on a bloody path of revenge. However, Tuoba Shah seemed extremely small in front of the Light Sacred Clan. Why now? You could have waited until you were absolutely confident before asking the Light Sacred Clan for him. Bai Qianyu asked softly. I can't wait any longer. Chu Hen's tone was firm. The Light Sacred Clan already knows that I'm back. They will definitely take action next. Instead of waiting for them to come to us in fear, it's better to take the initiative and catch them off guard. This was what Chu Hen was thinking. The Light Sacred Clan was definitely not kind. What he needed to do now was to rescue Tuoba Shah before Mang City took any action. Once he dealt with Mang City, the rest would be very easy to deal with. Chu Hen was not afraid that the Light Sacred Clan would come knocking on his door. After all, what they wanted was the Qitian token, an extremely evil item that was connected to the godly Forbidden Blood prison, the root of all evil. An evil item that would damage the Light Sacred Clan's reputation. For so many years, the Light Sacred Clan had been keeping a low profile. They had carefully searched for Tuoba Shah because they did not want this matter to spread. As long as he rescued Tuoba Shah, the Light Sacred Clan could only swallow their anger. Even if the Light Sacred Clan ignored the condemnation of the outside world and insisted on seeking revenge on Chu Hen, they could just reveal the secret of the Qitian token to the public. No matter what the outcome was, the Light Sacred Clan would not be able to deal with it. Of course, rescuing Tuoba Shah was the first priority. Otherwise, the Light Sacred Clan would have the absolute bargaining chip to prevent Chu Hen from acting rashly. In other words, if we don't rescue your senior soon, his life might be in danger? Bai Qianyu analyzed the reason behind it. That's right. Chu Hen confirmed it because he did not know what the Light Sacred Clan would do next. His priority was to rescue the other party. So I want to know, if the two of us work together, how confident are we of defeating Nangong Guangdong? Bai Qianyu raised her eyebrows slightly. She had a calm expression on her face. Actually, I have a better idea. Chu Hen was stunned. What idea do you have? Bai Qianyu smiled brightly and put the thick letter back on the table. Take a guess. The corners of her lips curled up slightly, and a mischievous look flashed in her eyes. It seemed that the serious matter that Chu Hen thought was not difficult at all. Although Chu Hen did not know what the other party was thinking, he was captivated by Bai Qianyu's faint smile. The evening sun dyed the horizon. The red glow of the setting sun made Bai Qianyu look even more lovely. Chu Hen subconsciously reached out and gently cupped her cheek. Bai Qianyu was obviously stunned by Chu Hen's sudden action. Her beautiful eyes were like water, and her voice was like that of a butterfly. What are you trying to do? The corners of Chu Hen's mouth curled up. I've been restraining myself all this time. It's very dangerous for you to stand in front of me like this. Dangerous? I don't think so at all. Bai Qianyu's beautiful big eyes were filled with mischief. The distance between the two of them gradually closed. The tip of their noses almost touched each other's. They could even feel each other's breathing. Humph! Chu Hen chuckled. You asked for it. Chu Hen's lips gently moved closer to Bai Qianyu's delicate cherry lip. However, at that moment, Bai Qianyu's eyes suddenly glowed with a sacred golden light. The next moment, the space around her distorted dreamily. Then, she suddenly disappeared in front of Chu Hen. What followed was Bai Qianyu's silvery bell-like laughter. Is this the danger you mentioned? Ha ha! Chu Hen was speechless. He turned sideways to look at Bai Qianyu, who flashed behind him. He was both angry and amused. Did I fall into your trap? Looking at Chu Hen's helpless expression, Bai Qianyu covered her mouth and chuckled. Then, with a hint of provocation, she said, Wait until you can beat me before thinking of doing bad things. Chu Hen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He shook his head and sighed. 3 days later, Mu Feng and Yi Yao returned from Heavenly Sword Pavilion and Fire Rain City. They returned to Kuan City as promised. In the evening, Kuan City was still as bright as day. The streets of all sizes were bustling with people coming and going. However, there was a pawn shop in an inconspicuous corner of an alley at the end of the street filled with singing and dancing. The decor of the pawn shop was very simple. The color was a little cold. The plaque at the door said, Pawn Shop Number 8. Pawn Shop Number 8. It was a very special name. Whether it was Number 8 or Pawn Shop, they were actually very common. However, once they were combined, there was an indescribable meaning. Pawnshop number 8. Everyone who lived nearby knew that the door of this pawnshop was closed during the day. It would only open at night. However, when the door was open, no one had ever pawned anything inside. Even if someone went in, they would soon run out. However, on this day, a group of uninvited guests broke into this extremely quiet pawnshop. "Sorry, our pawnshop doesn't do business. Please leave." A man less than 30 years old stretched out his hand and blocked the way of the crowd. His cold and indifferent voice was not mixed with any politeness. His words were not a discussion, but an order. If the pawnshop doesn't do business, then what is the use of opening it?" The young man who walked in laughed lightly. "Whether we do business or not has nothing to do with you. If you don't want to get hurt, leave immediately." The man's tone was still cold. Hurt? Why don't you try? Courting death. Bang. A heavy explosion sounded. The tables and chairs in the pawnshop were instantly shattered. Along with a wretched figure, the walls of the pawnshop were immediately covered with spiderweb-like cracks. The man held his chest with one hand, blood flowing from the corner of his mouth. His face was full of shock. The expressions of the other people in the pawnshop also changed. Who are you?" "The person you are looking for." "What? You are?" "That's right, I am Chu Hen." Chapter 15:28. That's right, I am Chu Hen. In the 8th pawnshop, the entire building shook violently. Stone chips of various sizes fell to the ground from the cracks on the walls. In an instant, everyone in the pawnshop had a grim expression on their faces. Their eyes were filled with ferocity. "What do you mean by Chu Hen? Chu Hen, I don't know him." The man in the lead scolded. "Humph." The corners of Chu Hen's mouth curled up. "Get your manager to come out and talk to me." You don't have the qualifications." Bang. Before the man could finish his sentence, he was once again slammed into the wall behind him. Rubble flew everywhere and the wall caved in rapidly. Then, it was as if an invisible hand had grabbed the man's throat and slowly lifted him up. The man was suspended in the air like a crab that was being hooked, flailing his limbs. When the others saw this, their eyes hardened and they wanted to charge at Chu Hen and the rest. "Let him go! How dare you come here and behave atrociously? You're courting death." At this moment, a powerful and heavy voice came from the second floor of the pawnshop. "Stop! Buzz!" In the next moment, an invisible and mighty aura swept over and rushed towards Chu Hen and the rest like a tidal wave. Chu Hen's handsome eyebrows twitched slightly and a powerful wave of energy surged out from his body. Boom! With a loud bang, an incomparably deep crack appeared in the middle of the pawnshop. Everyone in the pawnshop was shaken and took a few steps back. At the same time, steady footsteps could be heard coming from the stairs of the second floor. "You're finally willing to come out," said Chu Hen with a light smile. With a thought, the arrogant man floating in the air was directly flung out. Only after smashing a few precious flower vases and ornaments did he stop. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Under everyone's watchful eyes, a thin and tall elderly figure in plain clothes appeared at the corner of the stairs. "Old Mr. Chu? Why are you here?" Upon seeing this person, Xiao Shaowan couldn't help but shout out. Han Ichuan was also shocked. Old Mr. Chu, you are from the Radiant Sacred Clan?" Obviously, Xiao Shaowan and Han Ichuan knew the person in front of them. It was Chu Hen's first time meeting him. The other party was tall and thin. His eyes were calm like water in a well. "You too know him?" Mu Feng asked. "Yes," Xiao Shaowan nodded. "He's a good friend of my Sifu. The two of them often play chess together." Mr. Chu is the city lord of Medical Sage City. He has helped countless people his entire life. Why would he be involved with the light sacred race? Han Ichuan was also puzzled. "Since he's a lackey of the light sacred race, would your Sifu?" Mu Feng asked cautiously. Qiao Shaowan and Han Ichuan looked at each other, feeling conflicted. Medical Sage City. It was very famous in the East Victory State. City Lord Chu Qinghe's medical skills were superb. In the words of the world, as long as you were still breathing, old Mr. Chu Qinghe could save you. Not only that, Chu Qinghe was on good terms with Sect Master Qiao Yong of the Thousand World Sect and Xing Yi of the Palace of Jihua. If Medical Sage City was also a branch of the Light Sacred Race's stronghold in the East Victory State, people couldn't help but suspect the Thousand World Sect and the Palace of Jihua. However, in Chu Hen's opinion, Sect Master Qiao Yong and Hall Master Xing Yi had nothing to do with the Light Sacred Race. After all, the Light Sacred Race was arrogant. It was enough to set up Medical Sage City in the small East Victory State. I'm a little surprised that you would come to me in person. Chu Qinghe stood halfway up the stairs and looked at Chu Hen in front of him. I'm also surprised that you're someone my friend knows. I'm just serving my own master. I've been hiding for so many years, but you still found me in the end. Chu Qinghe's tone was very calm. It was as if he was used to seeing storms and waves. He looked at Chu Hen, nodded slightly, and said, "Back then, when I sent Yin Quan and Qing Xiong to chase you out of the eastern region, and none of them returned to report, I should have guessed that this day would come." The corner of Chu Hen's mouth twitched. It's really scary. The number of experts hidden in the seemingly ordinary Medical Sacred City is even greater than the combined number of the three major forces in the Victory East State: the Thousand World Sect, the Palace of Jihua, and Mount Kunliu. These were known as the three major forces in the state, but 4 years ago, their combined strength was no match for Medical Sage City. In order to find the whereabouts of the Qitian token, the mastermind of the Light Saint clan had really extended his search for a long time. I underestimated you. Chu Qinghe's old eyes were surging with sharpness. This is my mistake. When Chu Hen left the East Territory, he sent 2 of his most capable subordinates to hunt down Chu Hen, who was only at the 7th level of the Heaven Profound Realm. There were also many guards of the Light Saint clan following him. Logically speaking, Chu Hen should have been dead. Even 10 Chu Hen wouldn't have been able to escape. But in the end, they chased him all the way through Whale Island City to the Tomb of Immortals and Devils at the border of the Midland. They didn't catch Chu Hen, and the people they sent out were all killed. In fact, it just so happened that Chu Hen met Bai Qianyu in the Tomb of Immortals and Devils. If Bai Qianyu hadn't taken care of Qing Xiong and the others who were chasing after him, Chu Hen wouldn't have been able to follow him. You want to make up for your mistake now? Chu Hen smiled with interest. However, Chu Qinghe only smiled faintly. I'm just a mere Saint King. How can I be a match for a great Saint King like you? I've heard a little about what you've done in the Midland. The Light Saint clan was the Light Saint clan after all. What happened in the Midland hadn't reached the East Territory yet, but the Light Saint clan had already received the news. Since City Lord Chu isn't willing to fight me, then you'll lead me to a place, Chu Hen said calmly. Chu Qinghe raised his old eyes and stared at Chu Hen meaningfully. Don't tell me you want to go to Mang City in the inner prefecture of the East Territory? Yes, I need City Lord Chu to personally lead the way. Ha 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 ha. Chu Qinghe laughed with a hint of mockery in his laughter. The person you captured is locked up in Mang City, right? Chu Hen asked coldly. Since you want to go to Mang City, there's no harm in me telling you. That devil is indeed locked up in Mang City's Skywell prison. However, since you're able to find your way here, it's only natural that you've investigated Mang City. That's the largest branch of the Light Saint clan in the Eastern Territory. If you dare to go there, I have to admire your courage. There was a sneer on Chu Qinghe's face. Among the people behind Chu Hen, apart from Bai Qianyu who seemed indifferent, everyone had a solemn expression on their faces. One could imagine that the largest Saint clan's base in the inner prefecture of the Eastern Territory was definitely filled with powerhouses. The powerhouses in Mang City were definitely not someone the Medical Saint City could compare to. However, in the face of Chu Qinghe's disdain, Chu Hen only smiled. Back then, City Lord Chu, you must have been severely punished for failing to capture me, right? Now that you've brought me to Mang City, it's a good opportunity for you to make up for your mistake. Chu Qinghe's face immediately darkened when he heard that. His gaze unwaveringly stared at Chu Hen's calm and handsome face. You really dare to go to your death? Chu Hen raised an eyebrow slightly and raised his right hand slightly. Please lead the way, City Lord Chu. In the end, Chu Qinghe could not maintain his composure. He clenched his fists tightly as he felt that he could not see through the young man in front of him at all. What kind of ability did he have? How dare he trespass into Mang City to demand for people? Humph, since you're seeking your own death, why wouldn't I fulfill your wish? The wind raged throughout the night. A cold current suddenly struck. The sky had just turned bright when the wind stopped blowing. In the inner prefecture of the Eastern Territory, as a large prefecture in the center of the Eastern Territory, there were many forces and clans. Mang City, although it usually kept a low profile, no one had dared to invade this place ever since it was established. Those who knew would naturally understand. Those who did not know the depths of this place would also be fearful of the other forces' reverence. Mang City had never been opened to the outside world. There were no other citizens in the city. However, if someone stepped into it, they would all be amazed by the magnificence of the buildings and the grandeur of the palaces. At this moment, Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, Mo Qingli, Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang, Yi Yao, Qiao Shaowan, and Han Yichuan were walking up the wide step. Zhao Qingyi and her sister did not come with them. Chu Hen had ordered them to stay in Kuan City to look after Qingxue. As for Haozi, he was still in the 100 Kingdoms state, so he could not come with them. Among the 8 people, only Chu Hen, Bai Qianyu, and Mo Qingli were great saint kings, while the other 5 were saint kings. Moreover, the number of great saint king stage powerhouses in Light City would definitely not be lesser than the number in the War God Palace. Moreover, there was Nangong Guangtong, who was already a quasi-emperor. Chapter 1529. 1 second to remember. There was no pop-up window for free reading. Mang City. The palace was luxurious and majestic. The structure of the buildings inside and outside was peculiar. From the outside to the inside, it gradually increased in the form of stairs. From afar, it looked like a central fortress that was held up by stars. At this moment, on a Zen platform in the central square of Mang City, a middle-aged figure that looked like a monarch was sitting on a wide chair. He was dressed lavishly, had a square mouth, an aquiline nose, and a pair of triangular eyes that emitted a sharp light. On the surface, this person was the governor of Mang City, but in reality, he was the deputy clan leader of the Light Saint tribe. He was a ruler with supreme power. At this moment, under Nangong Guangtong's playful smile, a few young figures gradually walked from the Sky Stairway Avenue to the square. The eyes of many people behind Nangong Guangtong shivered when they saw the newcomer. Their eyes were filled with a cold light. I'm Chu Hen. Greetings, City Governor Nangong. He was neither haughty nor humble. Chu Hen walked up to Nangong Guangtong in the center of the Zen platform calmly. He cupped his fists slightly and bowed calmly. Nangong Guangtong's gaze swept across Chu Hen and the few people behind him. I've long heard of your name. Nice to meet you. City Governor Nangong, you're too kind. I came uninvited without an appointment. Please forgive me if I've disturbed you. No. Nangong Guangtong sat up slightly and leaned his upper body forward. It's good that you've come. Just what I wanted. It's been a long time since I've had such a good time. Chu Hen raised his eyebrows and smiled with interest. Could it be that you've been looking for me, City Governor Nangong? Ha 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 ha. Nangong Guangtong laughed. Then, his eyes turned cold as he said, Why are you looking for me? Ha ha, City Governor Nangong, since everyone is well aware of this, I shall get straight to the point. The reason I came here this time is because of Tuoba Shah, who is imprisoned in Mang City's Skywell prison." As soon as Chu Hen said that, the people of Mang City froze. The other party's straightforwardness was somewhat unexpected. Nangong Guangtong tilted his body slightly and clenched the fingers that were tapping on the edge of the wide chair. She stared at Chu Hen's calm face, unable to see through his thoughts. "What did you say?" "I don't really understand," Nangong Guangtong said. A disdainful smile appeared at the corner of Chu Hen's mouth. "A person of such a high status like you also likes to pretend? City Lord Nangong. No, I should call you Clan Leader Nangong." "Clan Leader?" Nangong Guangtong's face sank when he heard these two words. He glanced coldly at Chu Qinghe, the City Lord of Medical Saint City. His gaze returned to Chu Hen. "I really don't know what you're talking about. If there's nothing else, forgive me for not accompanying you." With that, Nangong Guangtong raised his hand and gestured for the people behind him to send the guests off. "It seems like the Light Saint clan is much more cowardly than I thought. You've been looking for that thing for so long. Now that I've personally delivered it to you, you don't dare to accept it?" Chu Hen's tone was somewhat sarcastic. Nangong Guangtong's eyes turned cold. He stared at Chu Hen's deep and clear eyes and said, "What do you want?" "Hand over Senior Tuoba," Chu Hen replied. "What if I don't agree?" Nangong Guangtong retorted. "You will agree, unless you want all the things you've done all these years to be exposed. Ha 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 ha." Nangong Guangtong laughed wantonly. His laughter was full of disdain and sarcasm. "I have to admit that I'm very surprised by your initiative. You've disrupted all our plans for deployment. I admire your courage, but you've forgotten one thing. This is Mang City, my territory." As soon as he finished speaking, figures with powerful auras suddenly appeared around the meditation platform. At the same time, Nangong Guangtong's body emanated a majestic aura like that of a mountain. "I can't hand over the person you want, and none of you arrogant people will be able to leave today." As soon as he finished speaking, the powerful aura that could topple the mountains and overturn the seas headed straight for Chu Hen. Humph! Not far away, the City Lord of Medical Saint City, Chu Qinghe, also had a sinister smile on his face. Chu Hen and his people were really arrogant to come here openly to ask for the person they wanted. Feeling the powerful domain power pressing down on them rapidly, Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang, and the others behind Chu Hen all had solemn expressions on their faces. The inner qi in their bodies circulated rapidly as they prepared to draw their swords. However, at this moment, a series of afterimages appeared in the air. Buzz! A heavy and vast wave of air spread in all directions. In the next instant, a beautiful figure that could topple nations and cities appeared in front of Chu Hen. A series of eye-catching golden lights spread out like a net of light to both sides. The powerful aura that came from Nangong Guangtong was directly blocked and shattered. "You are." Immediately after, Nangong Guangtong stood up and stared in shock at the young lady blocking in front of Chu Hen. The expressions of the experts from Mang City behind him also changed. "Miss Bai Shi? What happened?" Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang, and the others who were standing behind Chu Hen exchanged glances with one another, stunned. In Nangong Guangtong's shocked eyes, a pair of pure golden eyes were clearly reflected. Who are you?" "My family lives in Baidi City of the Cloud World." Bai Qianyu's red lips opened slightly as she said calmly. "Quang Dang." The moment she said that, Nangong Guangtong's face turned pale. "Baidi City of the Cloud World, you are?" "That's right, my surname is Bai," Bai Qianyu replied. Nangong Guangtong's expression changed again and again. He clenched his fists tightly, his eyes filled with a solemn expression. "Baidi City? What kind of place is that?" Mu Feng asked in a low voice, puzzled. Qiao Shaowan and Han Ichuan also didn't understand. "It seems to be a bluff." Nangong Guangtong was obviously stunned. He paused for a moment, the coldness in his eyes slowly retreating. Then, He cupped his fists and said, "I didn't know that Miss Bai was coming. I have eyes but failed to recognize you. Please forgive us." This kind of situation. Mu Feng, Qiao Shaowan, and the others opened their eyes wide. That can't be right? That was the Light Saint race. Wasn't Nangong Guangtong's attitude changing a little too quickly? Long Xuanxuang and Yi Yao exchanged glances and saw the shock in each other's eyes. Looking at Bai Qianyu, who stood in front of Chu Hen, Mo Qingli's eyes were filled with an indescribable complexity. City Lord Nangong is being too serious. Can you give me some face and hand over the person you locked up because of a misunderstanding to us? Bai Qianyu said calmly. This. Nangong Guangtong's brows furrowed as if he was hesitating. He first coldly glanced at Chu Hen, then cautiously stared at Bai Qianyu's golden eyes that emitted the aura of an emperor's divinity. He was still hesitating in his heart. Damn it! Nangong Guangtong cursed in his heart. This was something he didn't expect. It was unbelievable. Behind Chu Hen was Bai Qianyu from the godly I Saint race. Although the Light Saint race was relatively powerful, they couldn't afford to offend the godly I Saint race. Nangong Guangtong had already learned from the Midland that Chu Hen also had the demon pupil holy body, which was one of the 10 most powerful holy bodies in the world. But after all, the demon pupil family had suffered a great disaster, and Chu Hen didn't need to be afraid. But the godly I Saint race was different. They had the power to destroy the Light Saint race. After hesitating for a while, the hostility between Nangong Guangtong's eyebrows eased a little. I think it's just a misunderstanding. I also think it's a misunderstanding. Bai Qianyu smiled. Since it's a misunderstanding, let's solve it. I believe that the Light Saint race isn't unreasonable. City Lord Nangong, please send someone to bring Senior to Oba here. Nangong Guangtong didn't even have the chance to argue with the other party. He instantly felt that he had fallen into Chu Hen's trap. As soon as Chu Hen came up, he went straight to the point. He did not beat around the bush and immediately mentioned to Oba Shah. If Nangong Guangtong had ignored him and pretended to be confused, then he could still deny it. But under Chu Hen's provocation, Nangong Guangtong admitted that Tuoba Shah was here, so he couldn't pretend anymore. Now Mang City only had 2 choices. One was to compromise and give face to Bai Qianyu. On the other hand, he would go all out and fight to the death to keep everyone here. But the second idea disappeared in Nangong Guangtong's mind. If he couldn't keep any one of Chu Hen here, or if Bai Qianyu had already notified the godly I Saint race, the Light Saint race would be in big trouble. Since Miss Bai has already said so, how can we refuse? Someone bring that demon here. P.S. Thanks to the Pigeon King and Enron, the 2 big bosses, for the 40,000 yuan reward. It's very cruel and scary. I'll pay you back this weekend. I can't ask for leave again this month. Chapter 1530. Since Miss Bai has spoken, there's no reason for us to refuse. Men, bring that demon over. Yes? A few Mang City guards immediately obeyed the order. Bai Qianyu smiled. Thank you, City Lord Nangong. I owe the Light Saint clan a favor. I will personally send someone to the Light Saint clan to thank your clan leader in a few days. The corner of Nangong Guangtong's eyes twitched. He paused for a moment before continuing. Miss Bai has already said that it was a misunderstanding. There's no such thing as a favor. I hope Miss Bai and our young friend, Chu Hen, can forgive us. Chu Hen smiled and cupped his fists. I understand City Lord Nangong's intentions. Just as I said, it's all a misunderstanding. Yes, you're right. Nangong Guangtong was gnashing his teeth in hatred. If he wasn't afraid of the force behind Bai Qianyu, he would have already attacked and killed Chu Hen with a single palm strike. What a cunning bastard! Nangong Guangtong glared coldly at Chu Qinghe and the others. Chu Qinghe's expression was extremely ugly. Who would have thought that Bai Qianyu would be behind Chu Hen? The Light Saint clan had not gotten what they wanted. Instead, He had lost the Tuoba Shah as a bargaining chip. Moreover, after Bai Qianyu's interference, it was almost impossible for the Light Saint clan to obtain the Qitian token again. The golden light in Bai Qianyu's eyes faded as she looked at the defeated Nangong Guangtong. She turned around and winked at Chu Hen. Chu Hen's eyes were filled with warmth. At the same time, Mu Feng, Qiao Shaowan, and the others also gathered around and whispered, "That's it?" "Yes." Bai Qianyu's eyes were bright and her smile was like a flower. "You should have said so earlier. We were so nervous when we came." They looked at Chu Hen strangely. They were all prepared for a big fight, but who would have thought that Nangong Guangtong would be so terrified when Bai Qianyu stepped forward? The change was not just a little bit. No one could react in time. In fact, even Chu Hen didn't expect things to go so smoothly. "You owe me one again." Bai Qianyu pointed at Chu Hen with a finger that was as white as jade, and said with a bit of mischievousness. Chu Hen laughed involuntarily. He could not help but feel a little worried. If things continued like this, when would he ever be able to repay the debt he owed Bai Qianyu? "Brother, marry her." Mu Feng poked Chu Hen's arm with his elbow and said with a sneaky look, "There's no such perfect woman in the world. Your ancestors must be blessed. If I, little Mu Feng, had such a good life, I would dig up my ancestors' graves and bury them again." Chu Hen rolled his eyes at him in annoyance. "Be serious, we haven't left Mang City yet." "I'm not joking," Mu Feng said. Although Mu Feng said it very softly, Bai Qianyu heard him clearly. Her beautiful eyes turned and looked at Chu Hen, who was beside her. The corner of her mouth raised into a shallow smile. Clatter, clatter. At this moment, the sound of heavy chains being dragged on the ground came from the other side of the square. Everyone immediately put away their playful expressions and looked over. Under the lead of 2 Mang City guards, a disheveled figure covered in scabs, with disheveled hair and hands and feet locked in chains, limped toward them. "Senior Tuoba." Chu Hen was shocked and immediately rushed forward. Hearing this familiar voice, the other party looked up blankly. Under the messy and dirty hair was a pale, lifeless face. "Senior Tuoba, it's me. I'm Chu Hen." Hearing the 2 words, Chu Hen, a glimmer of light flashed across Tuoba Shah's gloomy eyes. His lips trembled slightly. "Yes, it's you." His weak and low voice was even softer than the buzzing of a mosquito. Looking at Tuoba Shah, who was almost all skin and bones, without a single piece of good flesh on his body, Chu Hen could not help but clench his fists tightly. Then, with a thought, a gentle force flowed into Tuoba Shah's body through his shoulders. Ding! With 2 crisp sounds, the iron chains on the Taba assassin's legs broke and exploded into several pieces. The expressions of the Mang City people changed slightly. Nangong Guangtong could not help but frown. They could clearly feel the chill coming from Chu Hen's body. Seeing this, Long Xuanxuang, Mu Feng, and the others immediately went forward to help Tuoba Shah. They also slightly comforted Chu Hen's emotions. "Chu Hen, since we've found Senior Tuoba, let's go back," Mu Feng said in a low voice. Although they could not bear to see Tuoba Shah being tortured to the point that he did not look like a human or a ghost, the Radiant's sacred clan had already taken a step back today. "Quit while you're ahead." There was no need to shed all pretense of cordiality. Chu Hen let out a deep breath. Then, he turned to Nangong Guangtong. "Thank you, City Lord Nangong, for taking care of Senior Tuoba all this time. I'll take my leave now. Goodbye. Forgive me for not seeing you off." At the same time, Nangong Guangtong was also filled with rage. If it were not for Bai Qianyu, Chu Hen and the others would not have been so comfortable today. Without any intention to stay, Mu Feng and Han Ichuan supported Tuoba Shah's shoulders from both sides and left with Chu Hen. Watching Chu Hen and the others walk down the Mang City sky stairway, Nangong Guangtong and the others' eyes turned cold. Their gazes were as sharp as blades. Rumble! Suddenly, at this moment, a violent, monstrous, chaotic shockwave appeared in the city behind Mang City. The mighty and terrifying shockwave swept in all directions, directly razing a few luxurious buildings to the ground and turning them into dust. "What's going on?" Nangong Guangtong, who was already in a state of rage, shouted. "Reporting to the city lord, there are intruders." A guard hurriedly ran over to report. "Who is it?" "I don't know, but the person who came is very powerful." Nangong Guangtong clenched his fist. He first glanced at Chu Hen and the others who had already reached the middle of the sky stairway, then waved his hand. "Let's go and take a look." At the same time, Chu Hen and the others were also shocked by the earth-shattering turbulence at the back of Mang City. "What's going on?" Mu Feng looked behind with a puzzled expression. "Someone is looking for trouble with Mang City?" "I don't think so. If they were looking for revenge, this wouldn't be the only commotion." "Then what's going on?" "Don't worry about it." "Let's go," Qiao Shaowan said. Chu Hen also nodded. "Let's go." The others did not have much intention to stay and observe. After all, they had not left Mang City yet. If Nangong Guangtong could not figure out what was going on, he would still regret it. Roar! A loud and impassioned dragon roar resounded through the sky. A dark, 1,000-meter-long dragon shadow rose from the sky, bringing with it a terrifying aura as it swooped down on Mang City. The heavens and earth trembled, and the 9 heavens changed color. The wind and clouds surged like a tidal wave. What a powerful dragon soul energy! It's someone from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Bai Qianyu subconsciously blurted out. Hearing these words, everyone's hearts couldn't help but tremble. Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. One of the 10 strongest sacred clans. This clan had the blood of the divine dragon flowing in their veins. They possessed the 9 dragons' true energy and possessed an extremely powerful destructive aura. Chu Hen and the others, who did not plan to stay any longer, became even more cautious when they heard that it was the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. "We can't stay here any longer. Let's leave quickly," Han Ichuan said. Roar! At the same time, a ferocious dragon shadow rose from the ground behind Mang City. On the other hand, this dragon shadow was burning with a strange, cold white flame. Together with the cold white flame that was like a tsunami, the flaming dragon shadow went straight for the black dragon that swooped down. They looked at the white dragon shadow. Long Xuanxuang and Chu Hen's expressions changed, their eyes widening. The two spat out a few words at the same time. 9 Soul Dragon Seal. 9 Soul Dragon Seal. It was a cultivation technique passed down by the Long family. In this world, only 3 people knew this martial art. Chu Hen, Long Xuanxuang and Long Qingyang. Chapter 1531. 9 Soul Dragon Seal. Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang's expressions changed when they sensed the familiar aura emitted by the ferocious dragon shadow that was covered in cold white flames. "What did you say?" Mu Feng asked in confusion. Before they could ask, Chu Hen's eyes turned cold and he said to them solemnly, "You guys take Senior Tuoba and leave first." After saying that, Chu Hen's figure moved. He drew a purple arc in the air and flew toward the prefecture behind Mang City. Long Xuanxuang didn't hesitate at all and followed closely behind. "Brother Chu Hen?" Yiyao was shocked and confused. Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes darted around and she said to them, "You guys go back first. Leave this to me." With that, Bai Qianyu turned into a beam of golden light and chased after Chu Hen and Emo Qingli. "You guys go first." Emo Qingli had no intention of leaving. "Wait for me. I'm going too. Noni, follow me." Qiao Shaowan and Yi Yao quickly chased after him with the yin-yang beast, Noni. F***ck, you guys. Mu Feng was speechless. He immediately pushed Tuoba Sha to Han Ichuan and said, "You take this uncle and leave first." Han Ichuan was speechless. All of them ran away, leaving him alone to take care of Tuoba Sha. What was the meaning of this? Roar! Roar! It was also at this moment that the two ferocious giant dragon shadows behind Mang City clashed with each other like two prehistoric beasts. Boom! Wind and thunder roared and the earth shook. A terrifying wave once again wreaked havoc in the sky above Mang City. The ground cracked inch by inch, and the densely packed deep cracks quickly covered the tall buildings in the city. In the void, more than 10 figures with piercingly cold auras, clad in colorful divine armors, held sharp spears in their hands. The leader of the group was in his 30s. He wore a dragon-patterned armor and held a heavenly heavy halberd in his hand. Around the halberd was the image of a golden dragon soul. A powerful aura covered the sky and covered the earth, like a huge mountain floating in the air. May I ask why the lords of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan are here? Nangong Guangtong and the others who had rushed over were surprised. Clan leader Nangong, I trust you have been well since we last met. The leader's voice was loud and forceful, with an innate dignity and domineering aura. Even though Nangong Guangtong's cultivation was slightly higher than his opponent's, he was actually at a disadvantage in terms of aura. This was the king's aura unique to the 10 strongest sacred clans. Commander Wu Hui. The corners of Nangong Guangtong's eyes narrowed as he recognized the person before him. He was the commander of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan's Dragon Guards. He also wielded a considerable amount of power. Since this is the Light Sacred Clan's territory, it makes things easier. Help us out a little and don't let this thief escape. Wu Hui waved the halberd in his hand and pointed below Mang City. Nangong Guangtong and the others looked down in the direction Wu Hui pointed, only to see a young figure exuding a powerful dragon soul aura standing on the cracked ground. Big brother! Long Qingyang. It was at this moment that 2 excited voices rang out. In an instant, the young figure's body could not help but tremble. He suddenly turned around, and there was still shock on his handsome face. Chu Hen, Xian Shuang in the tense atmosphere, Long Qingyang's eyes flickered. Chu Hen and Long Xuanshuang descended in a flash and flew toward the other party. It was like a dream, real and fake at the same time. Big brother, it's really you. Chu Hen stepped forward and grasped Long Qingyang's arm tightly. Long Xuanshuang clenched her fists, her beautiful phoenix eyes filled with indescribable complexity and longing. Long Qingyang was both surprised and delighted to see them. But then, Long Qingyang's expression turned grim. He said in a low voice, "Why are you two here?" Chu Hen didn't answer, but asked instead, "Big brother, what's going on?" He looked up at the dozen or so Dragonblood Sacred Clan experts above Mang City. They exuded a chilling aura, and their gazes were as sharp as blades. It was obvious that they weren't doing anything good. It was obvious that these people had chased Long Qingyang all the way here. What a touching scene. "Well, someone's going to collect your corpse today," Wu Hui said with a cold smile. "Collect my corpse?" Chu Hen's eyes turned cold as he looked at Wu Hui and the others in the sky. "I'm afraid you don't have the ability to do so." As soon as he finished speaking, a few figures with extraordinary auras rushed over. "Big brother Qingyang." Yi Yao couldn't help but exclaim. Mu Feng was also shocked. What was going on? The person being chased by the Dragonblood Sacred Clan was Long Qingyang. Long Qingyang had changed quite a bit after so many years. His figure was much taller, and he exuded a heroic aura. The most shocking thing was that Long Qingyang's aura was exceptionally powerful, and there was clearly a domain around him. Moreover, the strength of this domain had reached the peak of the Earth Great Saint King realm, and it even showed signs of approaching the Heaven realm. Unbelievable! In terms of cultivation, Long Qingyang's cultivation was actually higher than Chu Hen's. Qiao Shaowan and Emo Qingli didn't know Long Qingyang, but they couldn't help but look solemn at the current situation. "He actually has helpers, ha!" Looking at the crowd that had rushed over, a frivolous smile appeared on Wu Hui's face. He then turned his gaze towards Nangong Guangtong, clan leader Nangong. "I didn't expect this thief to have reinforcements. I'm afraid I'll need your help today. Hee. Nangong Guangtong chuckled. We will naturally do our best to fulfill Commander Wu Hui's request, but one of them is from Baidi City of the Cloud World, and he's someone our small race can't afford to offend. Baidi City of the Cloud World? The expressions of the Dragonblood Sacred Clan changed when they heard those words. Wu Hui's cold gaze swept across the crowd below, finally landing on Bai Qianyu. You're from the Divine Eye Sacred Clan? As expected from a high-ranked commander of the Dragonblood Sacred Clan, he could tell that Bai Qianyu was different from the rest with just one look. When they heard the words Divine Eye Sacred Clan, Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang and Qiao Shaowan were all shocked. Beautiful sister is also from one of the 10 strongest sacred clans? Qiao Shaowan exclaimed. Everyone was enlightened. No wonder the light sacred clan handed over to Oba Sha so easily. Bai Qianyu was indeed someone they couldn't afford to offend. Bai Qianyu's brows furrowed as she smiled. I am. Miss, may I know your surname? Bai Qianyu replied. The coldness in Wu Hui's eyes softened. The Divine Eye Sacred Clan and the Dragonblood Sacred Clan have always minded our own business. I believe Miss Bai won't interfere in our internal affairs. That might not be the case. That person owes me a lot, and I can't just watch him fall into your hands. Bai Qianyu pointed at Chu Hen, who was standing beside Long Qingyang. Heh! Wu Hui chuckled as he pointed his halberd at Long Qingyang. I only want this person. As for the others, I can let them go for Miss Bai's sake. Everyone's expressions froze. Long Qingyang clenched his fists and said to Chu Hen, Third brother, you don't have to worry about me. How can we not care about what Big Brother is saying? Chu Hen said firmly. I've already given in for Miss Bai's sake. It's not up to you to disagree. After all, the Dragonblood Sacred Clan was also one of the 10 strongest sacred clans. The Dragonblood Sacred Clan was not afraid of the Divine Eye Sacred Clan at all. Wu Hui was just giving Bai Qianyu some face. From the other party's resolute attitude, it seemed like he had no intention of letting Long Qingyang go. Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes darkened as her red lips parted. I wonder how my friend's brother has offended your race. If it's a misunderstanding, why don't you explain it to us? Misunderstanding? Heh. Wu Hui laughed coldly, his eyes filled with coldness. He pointed his halberd at Long Qingyang. This bastard stole the dragon origin of our clan. Chapter 1532. This bastard stole the dragon origin of our clan. What? Dragon origin? Whoosh! As soon as he said that, everyone in Mang City had a change of expression. Nangong Guangtong narrowed his eyes. Even Bai Qianyu's peerlessly beautiful face had traces of solemnity on it. Really? Bai Qianyu found it hard to believe. You can ask him if you don't believe me. Wu Hui pointed at Long Qingyang. Bai Qianyu turned to look at Long Qingyang. In comparison, Chu Hen, Long Xuanshuang, and the others were confused. Dragon origin? What's that? Mu Feng asked in confusion. It sounds a little precious, Qiao Shaowan chimed in. It's more than precious. Emo Qingli's red lips parted as she looked at Long Qingyang meaningfully. The Dragonblood Sacred Clan is born with the dragon soul qi, and the blood of the ancient dragon god flows in their veins. The dragon origin is a ball of spiritual energy left behind by their ancestor, the true dragon. The spiritual energy contains the qi of the 9 dragons. Rumor has it that only the patriarchs of the Dragonblood Sacred Clan are qualified to absorb the energy in the dragon origin. Emo Qingli's explanation was rather detailed. Although the few of them didn't understand the so-called dragon essence, they couldn't help but be shocked when they heard that only the patriarch and the lineage had the qualifications to absorb the dragon essence. That alone was enough to prove the importance of the dragon origin. In other words, the reason why Long Qingyang's cultivation had improved so rapidly was because he had devoured the dragon origin. If that was the case, things would be a little difficult. I did devour your dragon origin, Long Qingyang's admission caused the atmosphere to become even more tense. Everyone's expression changed again. However, Long Qingyang paused for a moment before he continued, but before that, I'd like to know what good the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan has done. Wu Wei frowned as a chill rose in his eyes. Don't spout nonsense. Humph. Long Qingyang sneered. Since you dared to do it, why don't you admit it? I, Long Qingyang, may have swallowed your dragon essence, but your Dragon Blood Sacred Clan is one of the 10 strongest sacred clans. How dare you sacrifice a living person to increase the power of your dragon essence? Aren't you afraid of divine retribution? What? As soon as he said this, everyone present turned pale with fright. Offering a living person as a sacrifice? Qiao Shaowan exclaimed. How did you know? Emo Qingli asked in a low voice. Because I'm one of the people they captured to be sacrificed. Long Qingyang's thunderous voice made everyone's scalps go numb. Chu Hen's face darkened, and he gripped Long Qingyang's arm tightly. Big brother, what's going on? Long Qingyang tried to calm his agitated emotions. He continued, Third brother, after the situation in the Alliance was stabilized that year, I wanted to wander outside for a few years before returning. But who would have thought that I would be captured by a group of mysterious people of unknown origin not long after I left the Eastern Victory State? When I woke up, I found out that I was in a huge furnace, and my surroundings were filled with strangers who were captured like me. Later on, I found out that it was the 9 Dragons Cauldron, a cauldron that nurtures dragon origin. Nonsense. Wu Wei snapped before Long Qingyang could finish. As everyone knows, the 9 Dragons Cauldron is ranked 6th on the Divine Weapon ranking. It contains an enormous amount of dragon soul qi, and the temperature inside is far higher than the magma in the Earth's core. If you were captured to be sacrificed, you wouldn't have survived more than 3 seconds inside. Do you really think you'd be able to come out alive? The few of them turned to Long Qingyang. The latter's gaze darkened. He subconsciously extended his hand to the side of his neck and gently grasped a red jade pendant hanging on his neck. The jade pendant was crimson in color and looked like a refined spirit crystal. The strangest thing about it was that it was in the shape of a dragon. I thought I was going to die too. Long Qingyang's eyes were filled with fear and confusion. But at the critical moment, this jade pendant blocked the terrifying flames inside the cauldron for me. Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang were both stunned. Both of them had seen this jade pendant before. It was an item that had been passed down from the Long family ancestors. It used to be in Long Bo's hands, but it had been passed on to Long Zhan. Long Zhan had hung this jade pendant around Long Qingyang's neck when Long Qingyang had been in poor health and would often fall sick for no reason. Miraculously, Long Qingyang had never fallen sick since then, and his health had only gotten better and better. Father passed this to you. Long Xuanxuang clenched her hands into fists. Long Qingyang nodded. Thinking back to that stern but warm figure, Long Qingyang subconsciously tightened his grip on his father's relic. Long Qingyang had been shocked at the time. And surprised too. He had thought that it was Long Zhan's spirit in heaven who had shielded him from disaster and prevented him from becoming a sacrifice in the 9 Dragon Cauldron like the others. Although he had not been able to escape from the 9 Dragon Cauldron, Long Qingyang had managed to survive. After a period of observation, Long Qingyang had discovered the Dragon Yuan within the 9 Dragon Cauldron and began to hide within the cauldron, secretly devouring the power of the Dragon Yuan. During this time, people were constantly captured and sent to the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, then mercilessly thrown into the 9 Dragon Cauldron. Long Qingyang felt like he was standing on the tip of a knife each time, terrified that he would be discovered by the people outside the cauldron. Fortunately, the 9 Dragon Cauldron had gathered a large amount of dragon soul energy and lava, and the magical power of the jade pendant had given Long Qingyang a good cover. The others were not as lucky as Long Qingyang. One by one, they were reduced to ashes amidst miserable cries. Long Qingyang's scalp went numb every time he heard the cries of others within the Nine-Dragon Cauldron. Long Qingyang's story, everyone could not help but feel a chill down their spines. Just thinking about it was enough to feel the despair and fear that came from the depths of their souls. There had been rumors that the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan would occasionally hunt down monsters and throw them into the Nine-Dragon Cauldron to increase the power of the Dragon Yuan. It sounded cruel, but monsters were still monsters. No matter how the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan hunted them, the world could accept it. After all, this was a world where the strong preyed on the weak. On a certain level, monsters and humans could be considered as opposite. However, once a living person was offered as a sacrifice, it would definitely go against humanity. Such actions could be said to be disgraceful and heinous. Shut up! Don't you dare tarnish the reputation of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan! Wu Hui reprimanded in a stern voice, and at the instant he finished speaking, a fierce energy fluctuation erupted from his palm and arm. Clang Wuhui brandished the halberd in his hand with a thunderous roar. In an instant, the silhouette of a majestic dragon swooped down towards Long Qingyang and the others with devastating might. A terrifying pressure descended upon them. Hurricanes swirled around them, shattering the rocks below. Crack! In the next instant, a beam of purple lightning shot out. Along with an incomparably sharp tearing sound, the purple lightning streaked across the sky and penetrated the head of the dragon's silhouette. What? Wu Hui's expression changed slightly. Long Qingyang's heart skipped a beat. Turning to the side, he saw the beam of purple lightning shoot out of Chu Hen's palm, exuding a terrifying penetrative force. Then, under the shocked gazes of the crowd, the purple beam of light sliced through the air and split the dragon's shadow into two. Who are you? Wu Hui asked coldly. Chu Hen did not reply. His handsome and stern face was covered with frost. How unforgivable! Everyone's expression changed as they sensed the chilling aura emanating from Chu Hen. To think that the mighty Dragon Blood Sacred Clan would commit such a despicable act. Humph, that's just his side of the story. What evidence does he have to prove that we sacrificed humans to nourish our Dragon Yuan, indeed? Long Qingyang was the only one who had escaped from the Nine Dragons Cauldron. His side of the story wasn't convincing at all. But he had personally admitted to taking the Dragon Yuan. From a third party's point of view, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was clearly more oppressive. Bai Qianyu suddenly asked, I'd like to ask something. Since the Dragon Yuan is the ultimate treasure of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan, it should be heavily guarded, right? Of course, Wu Hui replied coldly. Since it's heavily guarded, then I'm curious how he managed to sneak into the Nine Dragons Cauldron without anyone noticing. He even managed to devour the Dragon Yuan right under your noses. Wu Hui was speechless at Bai Qianyu's words. That's right. Tell me, how did he get into the Nine Dragons Cauldron? Are you people of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan all blind? Qiao Shaowan chimed in. Since the Dragon Yuan was an ultimate treasure that could only be used by the bloodline, it had to be heavily guarded. Such an important thing, even if there were no great Saint King Realm Masters guarding it, there would definitely be Saint King Realm Masters guarding it. Given Long Qingyang's strength before he devoured the Dragon Yuan, he wouldn't even be able to enter the Nine Dragons Cauldron, let alone get close to it. The only explanation was that Long Qingyang had been thrown into the Nine Dragons Cauldron by force. It was precisely because the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan thought that Long Qingyang was as insignificant as an ant that they had underestimated the situation inside the cauldron. 6 years passed. Long Qingyang had stayed in the Nine Dragons Cauldron for 6 whole years. He had also devoured the Dragon Yuan for 6 whole years. During this time, a few members of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan had obtained Dragon Soul energy from the Dragon Yuan, but they didn't need to enter the Nine Dragons Cauldron to absorb the Dragon Yuan energy from the Dragon Soul Hall outside. Long Qingyang was a smart one. He could tell if there was anyone outside based on the fluctuations of the Dragon Yuan within the cauldron. Every time this happened, Long Qingyang would increase his speed and devour the Dragon Yuan energy without restraint. That way, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan wouldn't be puzzled by the sharp decrease in the power contained in their Draconic Yuan. They would only think that it was one of their own clansmen who had absorbed the Dragon Yuan energy, not that there was a ghost hidden inside the Nine Dragons cauldron. For 6 years, Long Qingyang had been extremely cautious and on high alert every single day. Finally, when he thought that he had the confidence to escape, he had devoured the Dragon Yuan energy in one go and seized the opportunity to escape. Because of this, Long Qingyang had been hunted down by the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Long Qingyang had been running aimlessly the entire time. He hadn't expected to be intercepted by Wu Hui and the others in Mang City. What was even more unbelievable was that Chu Hen and Long Xuanxuang had coincidentally come here as well. There's no point in talking. I don't care how you stole our clan's Dragon Yuan, but I will bring you back today. It was obvious. What Wu Hui had said was full of loopholes. Rather than making things worse, it was better to just bring Long Qingyang back. With that, he unleashed his heaven-ranked Great Saint King aura. The halberd in Wu Hui's hand was surrounded by a majestic dragon shadow. No matter who it is, no one can save him today. These words were undoubtedly meant for by Qianyu. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan didn't want to have a conflict with the Holy-Eyed Sacred Clan. But when it came to Dragon Yuan, the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan couldn't care less. Long Qingyang, Long Xuanxuang, Mu Feng and the others' expressions changed when they sensed the powerful killing intent coming from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. Chu Hen, Xian Shuang, don't, but before Long Qingyang could finish speaking, a surge of surging killing intent soared into the sky. Pillars of purple light shot up into the heavenly river like shocking waves. Chu Hen coldly stared at Wu Hui and the others, whose faces revealed killing intent. I've been restraining the hatred in my heart all this time. You don't want to let him go, but I don't plan on letting you go either. Zeng. A loud and passionate wave of energy rippled through the air. It was accompanied by a powerful spatial rhythm. Purple light swirled in Chu Hen's eyes, and 7 black dots appeared in the depths of his pupils. Demon eyes. Wu Hui's eyes narrowed. Chapter 1533. Demon Eye Wu Hui of the Dragon Bloodline Sacred Clan trembled as he looked at the young figure standing beside Long Qingyang. His expression changed. He subconsciously glanced at Bai Qianyu on the other side, and a hint of contempt appeared between his brows. Interesting, the two clans are actually together. The surging pillars of purple light seemed to tear the earth apart. Like ferocious lightning dragons, they whizzed towards Wu Hui. Chu Hen had been restraining the rising hatred and killing intent in his heart ever since he'd heard about Long Qingyang's misfortune over the past few years. No wonder Long Qingyang hadn't returned all these years. It wasn't that he didn't want to come back, but that he couldn't. If he hadn't happened to be here today, he probably wouldn't have been able to find Long Qingyang's whereabouts for the rest of his life. Damn it! Damn it! How infuriating! A mere mortal Great Saint King dares to attack me? A disdainful sneer appeared on Wu Hui's face. He raised the halberd in his hand and swung it in the air, creating a sharp arc in the air. Clang, light and shadow intertwined as the lightning was cut apart. The whizzing lightning pillars were all chopped apart by the arc-shaped halberd radiance. Shing! In the next moment, the resonant vibrating sound of a sharp blade overlapped. Chu Hen's 5 fingers condensed in the air. Under the interweaving of gorgeous and manic lightning, a peerlessly sharp black divine sword was immediately unleashed. Swish! The air tore as the sword tore through the air. The formless imperial blade, which had shot out like the moon-chasing flying shuttle, soared into the sky. At the same time, Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes narrowed as the 7 black dots in the depths of his pupils began to spin. Accompanied by a powerful spatial rhythm, a ball of purple demonic flames wrapped around the rapidly moving formless imperial blade. The demonic flames surrounding the formless imperial blade burned with the power to burn the heavens, instantly turning into the silhouette of an enormous purple demonic flame dragon. Demonic flame's silent burial. What incredible control over Demon Eye! The party from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan was a little surprised. A cold light flashed in Wu Hui's eyes. Humph, insignificant tricks. Whoosh! He spun the ancient halberd in his hand and swung it at the purple flame dragon. The sharp halberd radiance cut through the heavenly river, and a beam of light streaked across the sky like a heavenly punishment. Clang! In an instant, the shadow was like an earth-shattering sword pillar that fell from the sky, directly striking the body of the purple dragon's silhouette. Hiss! It was as if the god of apocalypse was punishing a ferocious monster. A violent aura wave that shook the 9 heavens surged in the void, and the majestic and terrifying sword pillar began to twist the huge purple dragon's shadow in the middle. The purple flames exploded in the sky. Just as everyone was shocked by Wu Hui's powerful technique, the demonic flame dragon image's head exploded and it suddenly opened its mouth. Xiao! With a rapid trembling sound, a black divine sword flickering with lightning was spat out of the shattered dragon shadow's mouth. The corners of Wu Hui's mouth curled into a disdainful smile. A trick played by a 3-year-old. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his halberd, and the halberd, which was surrounded by a terrifying dragon silhouette, flew towards the formless Emperor blade. The powerful dragon aura caused the space to distort and shake. Wu Hui's attack seemed as if it was going to shatter the formless Emperor blade. Hiss! In an instant, the sharp halberd collided with the formless Emperor blade with unerring accuracy. The moment the two collided, the space distorted to the extreme, and a long and narrow crack appeared. A violent cyclone whistled in the sky above Mang City. A halberd and a sword collided head-on, and the explosive power was like the collision of 2 heavenly rays. The expected scene of the formless Emperor blade breaking did not appear. Everyone's pupils shrank slightly. Behind the formless Emperor blade, there was a young figure with purple lightning flickering all over his body. Not bad speed. Wu Hui's cold eyes reflected the demonic purple pupils of a demon god. Not only is my speed good, in terms of strength, I can also take your life. Chu Hen's eyes turned cold. The moment his words fell, the formless Emperor blade in his hand shone brilliantly. Then, the blade quickly elongated, and in an instant, it transformed into a sharp dragon's pine ice spear. This is? Wu Hui was slightly shocked. Bang! With a loud bang, a beam of lightning suddenly burst out from the tip of the spear. A tremendous force flowed through the halberd in Wu Hui's hand and into his body. Wu Hui immediately felt his arm go numb, and his whole body was sent flying. Chi-chi dense lightning arcs spread along Wu Hui's arm all the way to his whole body. The latter's eyes turned cold. Humph, I have underestimated your ability. Bang! A surge of domineering dragon soul chi erupted from his body, shattering the lightning power that enveloped his body. Then, Wu Hui brandished his halberd and turned around to attack Chu Hen. Chu Hen was fearless. He raised his ice spear and met the opponent head-on. The halberd was like a shadow, and its momentum was like thunder. The spear's shadow was like rain, and it was unrestrained. Long Qingyang couldn't help but sigh in admiration as he watched the battle between the two of them. After so many years, I am still no match for third brother even though I have become an Earth Great Saint King. Long Qingyang, who had devoured the dragon essence in the 9-dragon cauldron for 6 years, was definitely one of the top cultivators in the world. He had thought that his old friends had fallen far behind him. However, Chu Hen was still the same old Chu Hen. Long Qingyang was both surprised and happy for Chu Hen's growth. Never mind. Since I, Long Qingyang, have finally seen the light of day again, I might as well fight my brother to my heart's content. Buzz! With that, Long Qingyang raised his arms and clenched his fists. Roar! A powerful dragon roar resounded throughout the world from within his body. An illusory cold white dragon shadow rose from behind him like a protective spirit beast and lingered around him. The other experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan looked cold. Humph, how arrogant of you! Don't think that you can fight us just because you've devoured the dragon essence. Kill! Killing intent filled the air, and dust filled the air. In an instant, the experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan unleashed a torrential aura and charged at Long Qingyang and the others like towering mountains. At least I can see my family and friends again. Even if I die here today, it will be worth it. With that, Long Qingyang rose into the air, the dragon's shadow around him tearing the sky apart as it pounced at the people in front of him. Screech! At the same time, Emo Qingli also stepped into the air. Along with an earth-shattering wave of heat, a divine bird with a wingspan of over 1,000 feet suddenly appeared behind her. Sacred Wing Heavenly Flame Sparrow, the experts of the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan were surprised. I'll take care of this beast. You two go take back the dragon essence, one of the guards clad in dragon-patterned saint armor said coldly. All right. As soon as he finished speaking, the three great Saint King Realm experts who controlled domain power split into two groups, one of them heading towards Emo Qingli. The other two went straight for Long Qingyang. Meanwhile, the remaining dozen or so people charged towards Mufeng, Long Xuanshuang, Yiyao, and Xiao Shaowan. On the Dragon Blood Saint Clan side, there were 4 or 5 peak Great Saint King Realm Masters and more than 10 Saint King Realm Masters. Their overall strength was clearly superior to Chu Hen's side. However, at this moment, Bai Qianyu did not immediately join the battle between the two sides. Instead, she glanced at Nangong Guangtong's group from the corner of her eye. The current situation was different. The real pressure did not come from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. After all, Wu Hui was only a Heaven Great Saint King. However, Mang City was being overseen by the deputy clan leader of the Light Sacred Clan. He was almost a half-step emperor. If Mang City interfered, the situation would become even worse. Therefore, Bai Qianyu's real job was to keep an eye on the Light Sacred Clan. Chapter 1534. Boom! Bang! The war in Mang City broke out instantly. Long Qingyang's appearance had changed the purpose of Chu Hen and the others. No one had expected Long Qingyang to be hunted down by the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan. No one had expected Long Qingyang to live so cautiously over the years. However, even though this was the territory of the Light Sacred Clan, Nangong Guangtong did not intend to stop the war. It was like watching two tigers fight. Mang City, on the other hand, had their own ulterior motives. In the air, Chu Hen wielded the 8-foot-long spear aura. Sweeping out with the force of a thunderbolt, he clashed fiercely with the heavenly battle halberd, which had no light at all. A rain of light splashed, and airwaves rose to the sky. A series of violent impacts, such as stars colliding, mountains and rivers tearing apart. Wu Hui could not help but be shocked. He was a Heaven Great Saint King, while Chu Hen was only a peak mortal Great Saint King. There were 2 whole levels of difference between them, but Chu Hen's realm power was not weaker than his at all. If there was a difference in bloodline, it would be another story. But both of them had the 10 most powerful sacred bloodlines. They were equal in bloodline and suppressed in cultivation. But Chu Hen was as ferocious as a beast, and it was hard to suppress him. If I'm not wrong, you're the one who destroyed the War God Palace in Midland, right? Wu Hui swung the dragon shadow heavy halberd, splitting apart the sharp spear auras that were as dense as rain. The sharp halberd blade slashed towards Chu Hen's head. So what if I am? So what if I'm not? Chu Hen shook his body and dodged the opponent's attack. At the same time, he turned his hand around and stabbed towards Wu Hui's heart. Crack! Bolts of lightning gathered on the blade of the spear, and thousands of thunderbirds cried. It was a stunning scene, like a thunderbolt piercing through the world. Facing Chu Hen's extremely penetrating thunderbolt attack, Wu Hui's face revealed a mocking sneer. Then, he stretched out his left arm and grabbed the peerlessly sharp spear with his bare hands. However, in the instant before his left palm came into contact with the blade of the spear, there was a buzzing sound and a dazzling crimson light flashed. Wu Hui's left arm had shockingly transformed into a dragon claw that was as sharp as an iron hook. Dark red scales covered his arms and palms. Chi, a string of sparks and fiery rain splashed across the sky, as if the heavenly rays were rubbing against each other. Wu Hui's sharp dragon claws contained a fatal trapping power as he firmly grasped the endless spear light. Whoosh! A circle of chaotic air waves spread out in the air. The moment the dragon claw grabbed it, the lightning arcs covering it were shattered. "Let go!" Wu Hui shouted coldly. Buzz! An extremely strong hidden force surged out from the body of the spear and attacked Chu Hen. Chu Hen spread his 5 fingers, then loosened his grip on the spear. Wu Hui revealed a disdainful and mocking expression. "Is that all you've got?" But as soon as he finished speaking, the tips of Chu Hen's hands flickered with thousands of strands of silver light patterns. Just like the swirling swirls of light, they quickly intertwined and fused in front of Chu Hen. In the next moment, 9 dazzling diamond-shaped essences condensed in the air. 9 star seal go. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of rushing wind was exceptionally sharp. Wu Hui's pupils rapidly reflected the brilliant and colorful 9-star jade. The distance between the two was less than 3 meters. At such a close distance, no matter how fast Wu Hui's reaction speed was, he could not avoid Chu Hen's counterattack. Bang, bang, bang. A series of overlapping heavy explosions surged together as the 9 magnificent star jade all struck Wu Hui's body. A vast and chaotic ring of light leaked out in front of Wu Hui, and the chaotic chi patterns spread out in all directions. His body trembled violently, and his whole body was sent flying by the terrifying force. Then, Chu Hen leaned forward, and his steady and powerful palm once again gripped the end of the cold spear. "Let go." The same words came out of Chu Hen's mouth this time. Buzz, a hidden force, like an undercurrent in the deep sea, once again flowed along the body of the spear and into the blade. Wu Hui's dragon arm shook, and the iron hook-like dragon claws were immediately shaken off. In the next moment, Chu Hen's arms exerted force, and he gripped the end of the cold spear with both hands. His body spun, and he swung the heavy and steady long spear at Wu Hui's chest. Bang! A heavy explosion exploded in the air, and the chaotic chi waves swept out in all directions. Suddenly, the dragon-patterned god armor on Wu Hui's body broke into pieces and exploded from his body. This guy? Everyone on the Mang City's side was shocked. No one had expected that Wu Hui, a heaven-stage great saint king, would be suppressed by Chu Hen, a common stage great saint king. Vice-clan leader? Chu Qinghe, the city lord of Medical Saint City, said in a deep voice. Nangong Guangtong raised his hand slightly, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. No hurry. Wu Hui, who was hit by the terrifying gravitational force, was directly swept 100 meters away. In the process of moving, a particularly dense layer of dark red scales appeared in front of his chest. Hee, with just this little bit of strength, how can you hurt me? Dragon Saint Blood! Whoosh! A vast circle of red chi patterns spread out like a wave. Wu Hui shouted loudly, and his whole body seemed to be wrapped in a layer of dark red hot lava. Then, the hot lava immediately condensed into pieces of dense, solid dragon scales. Wu Hui's body trembled violently, and a steady stream of dragon soul energy burst out. It was as if a ferocious monster was about to break out of his body, and all the bones in his body were moving inside. Under the shocked gazes of the people below, Wu Hui's limbs immediately elongated, and they directly turned into sharp dragon claws. Dark red scales immediately covered his whole head. Roar! A deafening monster roar resounded through the 9 heavens, and a violent aura like that of an ancient beast filled the world. In an instant, Wu Hui turned into a terrifying half-human, half-dragon monster. His figure was similar to a human standing. However, He had dragon claws, a dragon tail, and a ferocious head. A pair of strange flesh wings sprouted from his back, and a red whirlpool of light gathered around him like a hurricane, looking extremely ferocious and domineering. Looking at Wu Hui, who had transformed into a ferocious monster, a solemn look appeared on Chu Hen's face. At the same time, Yi Yao, Long Xuanxuang, and Mu Feng had fallen into a great adversity. Although they also had Saint King realm strength, they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. What's more, the other side had the Dragon Blood Sacred Body's bloodline boundary force to support them. Bang! A heavy explosion reverberated through the world, and Long Xuanxuang, who had been besieged by several people, was the first to be repelled. Long Xuanxuang, who had fallen back to the ground, narrowed her beautiful eyes and clasped her palms together, releasing a powerful ice-profound qi. Qi Ka. Along with the condensing of the cold air, sharp icicles rose into the sky, like wooden stakes emerging from the earth, and crisscrossed around her. Bang! Boom! But in the next moment, a fierce attack tore through the air, and all the icicles were immediately shattered by the powerful impact from all sides. 3 figures appeared in a row, one in front of Long Xuanxuang, and one on the left and one on the right. Cold and sharp spear lights flew straight towards Long Xuanxuang. Long Xuanxuang's eyes flashed with panic. The danger of death was rapidly approaching. Boom! At this critical moment, the ground around Long Xuanxuang suddenly burst apart, sending rocks of all sizes flying into the sky, and a violent wave of purple energy overturned the earth. The 3 Dragon Blood Sacred Clan Masters surrounding Long Xuanxuang were all shocked. Before they could react, the powerful energy storm had sent the 3 of them flying. At the same time, a giant purple hand broke out of the ground behind Long Xuanxuang, reaching straight for the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan Master in front of her. The latter's expression changed drastically. The purple shadow immediately covered the sky, and the huge fiend god's hand directly grabbed that person. No, a short but urgent roar resounded above Dongmang City. The giant purple hand closed its fingers, and a violent force forcefully crushed the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan Master into a bloody mess. Bang! The vast purple light patterns mixed with the blood mist surged in all directions. Rumble! The earth cracked open inch by inch. A purple whirlpool rose up into the sky and a terrifying aura swept out. Numerous purple whirlpools intertwined and a 1,000-foot-tall giant demon spirit appeared behind Long Xuanxuang. Long Xuanxuang's eyes widened in shock. She looked at Long Xuanxuang. Like a guardian, it stood in front of her, protecting her. I still owe you 3 chapters. I'll pay you back by the end of the month. If you have flowers, remember to throw them. Thank you. Chapter 1535. Rumble. The ground crumbled, and the entire city shook violently. A boundless purple halo blended with a scarlet blood mist as the hand of nirvanic extermination crushed the expert of the sacred dragon clan into a ball of blood and gore. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions. Looking at the giant purple demonic spirit that appeared behind Long Xuanxuang, the faces of everyone from Mang City and the Dragon Blood Saint tribe changed. It's the 7-star demon eye. Crack. Then, beams of violent and resplendent lightning bolts burst out from between the arms of the Nirvana demon spirit. Thousands of lightning bolts intertwined as the Nirvanic demon spirit's palms shot out one lightning serpent after another. For example, it was a divine punishment. Exuding an aura of destruction, the lightning bolts headed straight for the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts were shocked. They turned around to block the attack. Boom! Rumble! The sky changed color and the earth cracked. A tremendous force slammed into the ground, shattering the Mang City Manor, the palace, and the experts of the Sacred Dragon Clan. They were all sent flying by the violent and devastating impact. A few of them who were slower to react were struck to the ground by the destructive lightning bolts, coughing up blood and charring their bodies. Sensing the Nirvanic demon spirit's powerful aura, The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan experts were horrified. The power of a 7-star demon eye is indeed formidable. Wu Hui, who had transformed into a crimson pterosaur, had a cold glint in his dark golden eyes. However, you alone can't save the world. Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes narrowed as he subconsciously looked in Long Qingyang's direction. Long Qingyang was facing 2 great Saint Kings at the same time, but he was completely suppressed by them. The 2 from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan attacked Long Qingyang's vitals with every move, and it was clear that Long Qingyang was struggling. "Big brother, take this!" Just at this moment, Chu Hen loudly shouted, and at the same time, he raised his arm. Swish, a gust of wind pierced through the air as a cold spear, flickering with dark talismans, shot towards Long Qingyang like an aurora. The piercingly cold spear aura dragged a vigorous cyclone in the air. One of the experts from the Dragon Blood Sacred Clan narrowed his eyes, and a disdainful smile appeared on his face. Dragon seizing hand. Buzz! In an instant, his palm suddenly stretched out, and it immediately turned into a dragon claw that was as sharp as a hook. The dragon claw's attack was like lightning, incomparably sharp. It tore apart the space and firmly locked the cold spear thrown by Chu Hen into its claws. "Thank you for your gift. I'll accept this god artifact." The man's face was filled with a complacent sneer. However, it was also at this moment that Wu Hui, who had transformed into a pterosaur, shouted, "Be careful." As soon as he finished speaking, a shadow flashed in the air. Before the dragon-blooded Sacred Clan expert, who caught the formless Emperor blade, could understand what was going on, a ghostly figure appeared in front of him. A cold aura suddenly appeared in front of him. Idiot! The man's rapidly constricting eyes reflected a pair of demonic purple pupils. Damn it! The man's heart jumped. He suddenly reacted. Just a moment ago, Chu Hen had used this move to cross the distance of the void in an instant and appeared in front of Wu Hui. Wherever the opponent's weapon went, it could instantly reach the target at a speed that was more than 10 times faster than normal. Buzz! The next moment, Chu Hen gripped the spear in his hand, and a series of violent arcs of lightning burst out from his palm and spread along the spear's body. "I'm sorry, but I'm afraid you won't be able to take this god artifact with you." The corners of Chu Hen's mouth curled up into a mocking smile. The man's expression changed drastically. There was no chance for him to let go. The blade of the spear, which was flickering with arcs of lightning, pierced through the other party's dragon claws, releasing a divine might that could pierce through the world as it pierced towards the other party. Even though they were both at the great Saint King realm. However, the other party actually felt extremely weak in front of Chu Hen's power. The arm that was holding the spear involuntarily bent inwards. The man's heart trembled and he felt his neck tighten. A stream of blood splattered in the air. The sharp spear light in Chu Hen's palm pierced through the dragon claw of his opponent and penetrated his throat. The lightning arcs swimming around the spear's blade were abnormally joyful. It broke out of the back of the opponent's neck, stained with blood. The 8-foot cold spear, peerless sharpness. He had killed the Dragon Blood Great Sage King with a single spear strike. Everyone in the audience was shocked. Mang City's side could not help but narrow their eyes. In the blink of an eye, Chu Hen had killed 2 of the Dragonblood Sacred Tribe's members. His ruthless methods were truly frightening. "You really deserve to die." Wu Hui's cold vertical pupils were filled with thick, killing intent. Whoosh! The other party's movement speed suddenly increased. Red magma-like whirlpools revolved around his body, tearing through the air. Wu Hui was like a meteorite piercing through the sky, dragging a powerful wave of heat behind him as he charged towards Chu Hen. Sensing Wu Hui's ferocious momentum, the corner of Chu Hen's eyes narrowed. He exerted force in his arm and pulled out the cold spear from the other party's throat. Then, he raised his hand and sent a purple lightning palm strike at the other party's body. After all, the other party was a great Saint King. Piercing the other party's throat with a spear wasn't enough to kill him. Boom! The mountain-like boundless palm force directly smashed his opponent into the ground below. The ground caved in, forming a giant palm print. Rubble and the city walls crumbled. The Dragonblood Sacred Tribe expert, who had suffered 2 heavy blows in a row, was smashed deep into the ground, and was immediately buried under the rubble. At the same time, a violent gust of wind attacked like a sharp blade. The enraged Wu Hui had already arrived in front of Chu Hen. "Bastard, I'll kill you!" Buzz, however, at this moment, the Nirvana demon spirit on the other side suddenly unleashed a monstrous domineering aura. Its giant hand swiftly reached down and the demon god's hand, which was covered in thousands of streaks of lightning, intercepted Wu Hui's attack. Bang! A heavy sound rang out, as if a meteorite had crashed into a mountain. The surrounding space distorted and trembled. Along with a wantonly explosion of lightning arcs, the Nirvanic demon spirit's giant palm was forcibly pierced through by a terrifying force. A cold wind howled and waves of air surged. Chu Hen's pupils involuntarily shrank. Swish! In the next second, the sinister figure surging with dark red light passed through the Nirvana demon spirit's interception like a shuttle and arrived in front of Chu Hen. "Don't forget, I'm also one of the 10 strongest sacred physique. How can this little bit of strength stop me?" The cold voice was like a sharp blade. Bang! Then, a sudden gust of wind blew, and the sinister dragon's shadow directly slammed its razor-sharp dragon claws into Chu Hen's chest. The barb-like claws dug into Chu Hen's body. The powerful inertial force caused Chu Hen's body to twist and turn. The 2 of them quickly flew behind Chu Hen. Chu Hen? Long Xuanxuang, Mu Feng, and the others' expressions changed drastically. They saw Wu Hui, who had transformed into a dragon, fiercely dig his claws into Chu Hen's body, and the huge inertial force caused the 2 of them to crash into several tall buildings in Mang City like meteorites. "I was a little careless." Bai Qianyu, who had been staying out of the battle, muttered softly. The Dragon Blood Sacred Clan and the Demon Eye Sacred Clan were both of the 10 strongest bloodlines. However, the 10 strongest sacred physiques were also divided into different levels. They needed to constantly evolve in order to gradually display the strongest power of a sacred physique. Chu Hen's Demon Eye bloodline was at 7 stars. As for Wu Hui, his bloodline was only at level 6. In terms of bloodline, Chu Hen's 7-star Demon Eye bloodline was naturally superior to Wu Hui's level 6 Dragon Blood Sacred Physique, but the latter's realm was 2 levels higher than Chu Hen's. Moreover, after the Dragon Blood Sacred Physique transformed into a dragon, its instantaneous explosive power was close to that of the primitive Sacred Physique. Its defense and movement speed had also skyrocketed by dozens of times. In that situation, Chu Hen only used the Nirvana Demon Spirit's palm to block Wu Hui's attack, not giving his opponent the respect he deserved. Boom! Under the grip of Wu Hui's dragon claws, Chu Hen's back once again smashed through a magnificent hall. The 2 of them rushed out of the rubble one after the other. Huff! The fierce wind whistled in Chu Hen's ears. Their eyes met at close range, one demonic and demonic, the other fierce and domineering. "Heh, this is just the beginning. You're already so powerless." A book from Chapter 1536. "Heh, this is only the beginning. Are you already so powerless?" A mocking voice spat out from Wu Hui's mouth. The corners of his mouth curled into a sinister, demon-like sneer. "I don't think it's the beginning. I think it's almost over," Chu Hen calmly retorted. Whoosh! The 7 black dots in the depths of Chu Hen's eyes faintly trembled the moment he finished speaking. Along with a strange spatial rhythm, a cluster of purple flames appeared out of thin air in an instant. The demonic flames that did not have the slightest bit of temperature instantly scuttled up Wu Hui's arm. Then, like a venomous tarsal bone, it rapidly spread and burned Wu Hui's body, enveloping him within. The wantonly rising purple demonic flames burned and distorted the space around them. In the blink of an eye, Wu Hui had been reduced to a flame-winged dragon. Humph! sacred demonic flame of desolation. Wu Hui coldly snorted. Although it can cause considerable damage to my dragon scales, I won't stand here and let you burn me. As soon as he finished speaking, Wu Hui's dragon claw, which was embedded in Chu Hen's chest, suddenly erupted with a tremendous force. Get down, Wu Hui sternly shouted, a passionate dragon roar coming from his throat. Roar. In an instant, Wu Hui's figure tilted to the side, and the enormous dragon claw directly crushed Chu Hen downwards. Wu Hui's speed exploded, his offensive power multiplied, and his strength multiplied. From afar, it looked like Chu Hen had been rapidly smashed into the ground by a meteor falling from the sky. Bang! An incomparably heavy, earth-shattering sound exploded both inside and outside of Mang City. As if struck by a meteor, the ground rapidly caved in the instant that Chu Hen and Wu Hui landed. Countless cracks spread across Mang City's courtyard like a giant spiderweb. Rocks of all sizes flew into the air like rain, mixed with a vast purple halo that swept in all directions. Roar! The dragon roar shook the heavens and the earth, and the terrifying dragon's soul aura intimidated everyone present. After smashing Chu Hen into the ground, Wu Hui's aura once again exploded, and a sinister and terrifying phantom of a winged dragon appeared in the sky. Frightening dragon transformation! Roar! Under everyone's shocked gazes, Wu Hui's already ferocious and domineering dragon body began to rapidly expand. In the blink of an eye, it transformed into a pterosaur that was 300 to 400 meters long. Buzz, a boundless ferocious aura spread out in all directions along with the mighty dragon aura. The purple demonic flames that were attached to his body were swept away. The domineering, startling dragon was like a ferocious demon lord. Wu Hui, who had transformed into a several hundred-meter-long winged dragon, was extremely imposing. "Halberd, come!" he shouted loudly. Whoosh! The halberd, surrounded by the shadow of a dragon, suddenly flew over from the other side of the sky. In the process of moving, the heavenly war halberd also rapidly enlarged and lengthened. When the halberd landed firmly in Wu Hui's dragon claw, it transformed into a 100-meter-long divine halberd. The destructive aura caused the space to tremble. Wu Hui gripped the halberd with his claws and pointed the halberd downwards. His dragon arms erupted with a powerful force as he dragged the halberd, which was surrounded by tens of thousands of magma rays, towards Chu Hen, who was in the pit in front of him. Roar! The dragon's shadow that lingered around the halberd let out a deafening roar. As if a storm was pouring down, the area where Chu Hen was about to be reduced to a land of divine punishment and destruction. "As you wish, I'll end it for you." "Not good!" Chu Hen, Mu Feng, Long Xuanshuang, Long Qingyang, and the others were all shocked when they saw this scene. "Sister Qianyu, hurry up and save big brother Chu Hen," Yi Yao exclaimed anxiously. Bai Qianyu's clear eyes narrowed slightly, and the depths of her pupils overflowed with wisps of divine golden light. However, it was also at this moment that incomparably strong blood-colored vines suddenly rushed out of the ruins where Chu Hen was. Limitless heart of thorns! Rumble! The strong blood-colored vines pierced through the ground like countless giant octopus hands rushing out of the dark abyss, intertwining and instantly wrapping around Wu Hui's huge dragon body. Whoosh! The crisscrossing blood-colored vines immediately darted toward Wu Hui's giant arm that was holding the divine halberd. The speed of the sharp halberd's descent clearly paused. But then, the halberd erupted with tens of thousands of rays of divine light, directly crushing the giant blood-colored vines that were entangling it. However, in that instant of pause, in the same instant that the terrifying heavy halberd landed on the ground, Chu Hen immediately retreated and rose into the air. Boom! The ground cracked inch by inch. The extremely violent impact of the halberd could be said to have crushed the entire area, and the destructive explosive blow that was comparable to the apocalypse tore through layer after layer of the ground. Mang City's courtyard was turned upside down. One building after another was razed to the ground. The surging tsunami-like aftermath wreaked havoc in all directions. Chu Hen drew a beam of afterimages in the void, sweeping across the sky in front of Wu Hui. That was close. Yi Yao, Long Xuanxuang, and the others breathed a sigh of relief. But at the same time, they felt uneasy for Chu Hen. The sky was littered with rubble, and the cold wind was biting cold. "Humph, you even managed to dodge this." Wu Hui, who had transformed into a giant winged dragon, sneered coldly. He waved the halberd in his hand and slashed at Chu Hen. Chu Hen's demonic purple eyes flashed with a cold light. He changed directions several times in a row, and while dodging the sharp halberd light, he flashed to his opponent's body. Sun Luo, Arctic Storm. Whoosh! In an instant, a bone-chilling cold current invaded the area. The temperature between heaven and earth instantly dropped below freezing point. Ice and snow roared, and wind and frost filled the air. A thick layer of frost quickly climbed up Wu Hui's huge dragon body. Crack! The ice condensed extremely quickly, especially within the range of Chu Hen's domain. Ice spikes spread out from Wu Hui's body, like wooden stakes on the ground, blocking his opponent's position. "Looks like you can't come up with any decent moves. You can't even break my defense with this little thing." Wu Hui taunted wantonly. His vertical pupils trembled, and streaks of dark red light that looked like overflowing lava erupted from his dragon scales. Crack! The thick layer of ice covering his body was like shattered crystal glass, and countless cracks extended outwards. Whoosh! Chu Hen leaped and landed firmly in the middle of the domineering pair of flesh wings behind Wu Hui. Then, his eyes flashed, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a playful smile. "That's not necessarily true. If I want to break your snakeskin, these few are enough." Sun Luo, 1,000-mile desolation. Buzz, a circle of ancient and gloomy air patterns, like a surging gray torrent, instantly swept out with Wu Hui's huge dragon body as the center. In the next moment, the sky changed color, and it was as if an ancient poisonous plague had corroded this space. The sky and earth were immediately reduced to a dusky yellow. Dust filled the sky. Strands of yellow sand mixed with brown turbid air danced wildly in the sky. "This is?" The hearts of everyone present were shocked. Everything in Mang City had quietly lost its color, as if it had been baptized by wind and frost for many years, revealing an old color. "It's the power of the sacred body of great desolation." The city lord of Medical Saint City, Chu Qinghe, clenched his fists and shouted coldly. "No, it's the power of the Sunluo King, the demon lord, Nangong Guangtong, the deputy clan leader of the Light Sacred Tribe," said with narrowed eyes. The most shocking thing was that Wu Hui, who was in the center of the gray light circle, seemed to have been corroded by a deadly poison. The dark red scales on his body became dry, loose, and quickly lost their bright luster. "I see." Bai Qianyu's beautiful eyes glowed. The power of the grand desolation. It was domineering and peculiar. Compared to other elemental powers, the power of the grand desolation could weaken any kind of physical defense. This power was known as the strongest, armor-piercing power. "I'm going to peel off this snakeskin of yours today," Chu Hen shouted coldly. "Get lost!" Wu Hui roared angrily. A few majestic red pillars of rock shot out from his back. Chu Hen leaped up and immediately flashed toward the sky. "Then I'll give it a try." In his rage, Wu Hui waved the halberd in his hand. Scorching air waves stacked up and shattered all the ice and blood-colored vines that wrapped around his body. His cold vertical pupils swept toward Chu Hen, who was high up in the sky. "Who's going to peel off whose skin? Sorry, it's over." The corner of Chu Hen's mouth twitched. Buzz, in an instant, countless dazzling silver light patterns swam out of his body. Innumerable strands of resplendent light immediately condensed in front of Chu Hen, forming streaks of exquisite, magnificent star jade. "Ha ha ha ha, what a joke!" "It's this kind of trash again." However, before Wu Hui's voice died away, the space around Chu Hen began to vibrate violently. That's. Yi Yao, who was familiar with the North Star art, could not help but exclaim, the 10th magnificent star jade? How could it be? After the 9 streaks of magnificent star jade, the 10th streak of dazzling rhombus-shaped essence appeared in front of Chu Hen. In the next moment Yi Yao's expression changed again. After the 10th streak of magnificent star jade, another streak of rhombus-shaped essence condensed around Chu Hen. How is this possible?